Chapter 43. The power of the primordial violet qi filled every corner of his body. Chu Kuangren only felt that the current him could easily shatter the heavens and earth and control the world. This feeling was a little intoxicating to him. At this moment, his cultivation base rose again. Venerable realm. He had a supreme Daoist physique, and he had 3 supreme foundations. He cultivated sage techniques and sage ruler techniques. He was a venerable one, and he was too terrifying. Just as he used the primordial violet qi to raise his cultivation level to the martial highness realm, an incomparably vast and terrifying pressure that was even stronger than that of a supreme martial highness surged like a tsunami, crashing into the heavens and the earth. The so-called sky-ceiling formation began to crack under the terrifying pressure, before it suddenly collapsed with a loud bang. A vast pressure swept out in all directions. The entire White Cloud City was shocked. All the cultivators, including the supremacies, had a drastic change of expression as they looked in the direction of the city lord's mansion in fear. This pressure. What's going on with this Daoist rhyme? A supreme honorable is only SOSO. Could it be that honorable swordsman White Cloud is about to face his ascension? No, that's not right. This Daoist rhyme doesn't belong to honorable swordsman White Cloud. It's an unfamiliar Daoist rhyme. Which mighty being has descended upon us? Oh my God, this pressure is way too terrifying. All the cultivators were shocked. Most of the cultivators below the nascent soul realm prostrated themselves on the ground and shivered in fear due to this vast pressure. Only those above the nascent soul realm could remain standing, and only those in the void interpretation realm could retain the ability to move. Many cultivators were secretly dissatisfied. Which supreme being was this? Didn't he know how to restrain his aura? Was he so arrogant? Unfortunately, they didn't know. The owner of this pressure was just a nascent soul cultivator a few minutes ago. Chu Kuangren /S domineering aura shook the entire White Cloud City. Many strong cultivators had also rushed to the city hall, but all they saw was a pile of ruins. Someone attacked the city lord mansion? Who is so daring? Is it the owner of this pressure? Look at that young man. How is this possible? The first thing everyone did when they arrived at the city hall was to look for the source of the domineering aura, and the first thing they noticed was Chu Kuangren. A youth and a supreme honorable being? This made everyone feel incredulous. This was especially true for Li Yi, who had rushed over from White Jade Tower. When they met yesterday, he was still a nascent soul cultivator. How did he become a supreme sovereign today? Was he dreaming? Li Yi felt like the whole world was surreal. Go Baifeng, go quickly. Li Ruolin shouted at Yi Baifeng and the rest. This kind of pressure, even she, a venerable, felt terrified, not to mention Yi Baifeng and the rest. If they continued to stay here, only death awaited them. Leave? Where do you think you're going? Chu Kuangren said calmly. Then, a vast amount of sword qi erupted from between the heavens and the earth, intertwining into 12 towering sword qi pillars that shrouded the entire city hall like a prison. Dao physique phenomenon, 9 heaven sword prison. Once the sword prison appeared, there was no way to escape within the 9 heavens and 10 earths. I'll fight you to the death. Li Ruolin gritted her teeth as crimson flames erupted from her body and formed a gigantic red lotus around her. She didn't hesitate to push her spiritual energy to the limit, risking damaging her own foundation to forcefully erupt with power comparable to a supreme martial artist. The gigantic red lotus was beautiful and magnificent. As it charged towards Chu Kuangren, its terrifying energy almost distorted the void wherever it went. If that's all you've got, then be obedient and be suppressed. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then the entire White Cloud City began to shake violently. Under the White Cloud City, majestic earth qi surged out and formed an ancient godly mountain that was thousands of feet tall in front of Chu Kuangren. The godly mountain fell, and the flaming red lotus was instantly crushed. Li Ruolin let out a scream as she was killed in an instant. A powerful cultivator that was close to becoming an honorable had fallen in front of everyone. My beloved wife. The White Cloud's honorable swordsman roared in grief. His eyes were bloodshot as he charged towards Chu Kuangren, unleashing the full power of an honorable supreme. With a slash of his sword, a silvery white sword ray that covered the sky descended. Only a few people in the entire Azure Dragon domain could withstand this slash. Let me show you what a real sword is. Chu Kuangren stepped on the 36th tier green lotus, the supreme sword of the heavens above his head. He possessed the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart, and coupled with the sudden increase in his cultivation level, he was confident that he could defeat even the supreme honorable swordsman in terms of sword Dao. As the two great transformations unfolded, all the swords in the city trembled. Countless long swords flew out of their scabbards and stabbed into the ground. The swords were bent, as if they were worshipping a human being. At that moment, tens of thousands of swords were worshipping him. All the swordsmen stared at the spectacle in front of them, dumbfounded. Meanwhile, in the sky above the city hall, facing the enraged white clouds' honorable swordsman's attack, Chu Kuangren wielded the descendant self-sword and unleashed a slash of his own. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. The purple sword ray gushed out like a tidal wave. All the cultivators who witnessed this sword ray, even an honorable like Li Yi, felt their scalp tingle and their bodies shivered. This was the purest and most terrifying sword attack. The two sword rays collided in midair, and two surges of Daoist rhymes intersected in the void. A terrifying impact shook the heavens and the earth. The clouds above the white cloud city tumbled and rolled back continuously. Under this terrifying impact, a huge hole was torn open in the clouds. The sword ray was like a tidal wave, shattering the other sword ray. The white cloud's honorable swordsman's expression changed drastically. He tried to block the sword ray with his sword, but the huge impact made him spit out blood. His body was smashed into the ground like a cannonball, forming a huge crater. As an honorable supreme, he was supposed to be majestic, but at that moment, he was half kneeling in the crater with blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. He looked extremely pathetic. A hint of regret appeared in his eyes. If he knew this would happen, he would not have coveted Chu Kuangren's primordial purple haze. That way, his beloved wife would not have died, and the city hall would not have fallen to such a state. However, everything was set in stone. There were all kinds of remedies in this world, but there was no cure for regret. My next attack will kill you. Chu Kuangren's voice echoed in the sky. The terrifying Daoist rhymes continued to rise from his body. The 3 transformations of the exquisite 9 orifices sword heart were activated, and the golden jade body was activated to its limit. The descendant's self-sword was trembling. On the blade, the purple sword ray was ready to be unleashed. The white cloud's honorable swordsman knew that he might not be able to block this attack, so he yelled, "Chu Kuangren has Yuan Ling's treasury." His words made everyone's expression change. Honorable Yuan Ling's treasury was with Chu Kuangren. "Heh, are you planning to kill me before I can rest in peace? Such petty tricks are not worth mentioning. I'd like to see who in this world dares to covet my things." Chu Kuangren laughed and swung his sword. The surging sword ray engulfed the white cloud's honorable swordsman. Even the cultivators from the city hall behind him were engulfed in it. There were no screams. Even if there were, it would have been covered by the sword ray that destroyed everything and turned everything into ashes. After that attack, the white cloud city hall no longer existed. Chu Kuangren landed on the ground. The effects of the primordial purple haze were rapidly fading after he unleashed that attack, and his cultivation level continued to drop. Chu Kuangren felt a little regretful. After all, it's a forceful increase in cultivation level. It's not as practical as self-cultivation. Not far away, the strong cultivators who had rushed over were stunned by the scene. The invincible legend of the White Cloud City had fallen in front of them just like that. For a moment, they felt that it was unrealistic. It was not until the sky was filled with red clouds and red rain began to fall, drenching everyone's hearts with a chill, that they regained their senses. An honorable supreme has fallen, and red rain falls from the sky. Chapter 44. Chu Kuangren looked at the sky full of red rain and chuckled. Legend has it that when a great being falls, there will be a phenomenon. Seems like it's true. According to ancient legends, when the last emperor of this world fell, the Daoist bell would ring and rain would fall for 3 days straight. Compared to that, what was this little shower of red rain? Not long after, the red rain stopped and the sun broke through the dark clouds. Chu Kuangren stood on top of the ruins. The sunlight shone on him like a layer of golden gauze. The crowd was still in shock from Chu Kuangren's power and did not dare to approach him. Their eyes flickered and no one knew what they were thinking. They were confused. How could Chu Kuangren kill Honorable Swordsman White Cloud? Why did his current cultivation level look so weak? Also, did Yuan Ling's treasury really belong to him? There were too many questions. Before they could get an answer, even if Chu Kuangren was on the verge of death, they dared not act recklessly. Lan Yu, check if there are any fish that escape the net. Don't leave a single one alive, kill them all. I don't need revenge. Chu Kuangren said calmly. Yes, master. Lan Yu nodded. Well, it was true. The two of them managed to find the survivors. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Yi Lei, who was covered in blood, was dragged out from the ruins. He knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. He did not look like the Yi family's sky pride at all. Brother Chu, please spare my life. If you let me go, I'll do anything for you, Yi Lei said. You're Li Xingqian's friend? Chu Kuangren looked at him and suddenly remembered that he had met Yi Lei at the banquet that Li Xingqian held for him. A glimmer of hope appeared in Yi Lei's eyes. He quickly nodded. That's right, Li Xingqian and I are good friends. I hope Brother Chu will spare my life for his sake. I will definitely repay you in the future. Chu Kuangren could not help but shake his head. I think it's funny. I killed your entire family and you still want to repay me? Because of their greed, they offended Brother Chu. Their deaths are not to be regretted. Yi Lei's face was filled with flattery. His bloody face made him look like a clown. He hated Chu Kuangren so much that he wanted nothing more than to hack him into 1,000 pieces. However, for the sake of his life, he had no choice but to put on a harmless front, even if it meant slandering his birth parents. As long as he was alive, he would have the hope of revenge. Yo, not bad. You're really the best. Chu Kuangren chuckled. With a slash of the long sword in his hand, a razor-sharp sword chi instantly sliced off his opponent's head. As for Yi Lei, he still couldn't understand why the other party wouldn't let him go even after he had lowered his voice and acted impeccably. Indeed, Chu Kuangren did not know if Yi Lei was acting or if he was really scared out of his wits. However, as long as there was even the slightest possibility that Yi Lei would seek revenge, Chu Kuangren would not give himself any trouble, even if the other party posed no threat to him. All right, it's time to collect the spoils of war, Chu Kuangren said. In this battle, he had used the primordial purple haze, which was the foundation of becoming a sage. Even if he did not intend to use it to become a sage, it was still the primordial purple haze, which was extremely precious. Now it was gone. How could he not take back some of the spoils of war from the city hall? This battle was too horrifying. Most of the cultivators in the city hall did not even manage to preserve their corpses, leaving only their yin and yang rings behind. Some of the rings were even damaged and could not be used. However, after a rough search, Chu Kuangren still managed to find a lot of good stuff. After all, the city governor's mansion was overseen by a supreme honorable being. No matter how shabby it was, how shabby could it be? After cleaning up the battlefield, Chu Kuangren was about to leave. At that moment, a middle-aged cultivator could no longer hold it in and stopped him. Honorable Swordsman White Cloud said that the Yuan Ling's treasury is with you? Chu Kuangren nodded. Yes. Do you want it? Chu Kuangren's question made the middle-aged cultivator speechless. He did want it. He wanted it very much, so much so that he could not think about it anymore. However, the scene of Chu Kuangren killing Honorable Swordsman White Cloud was deeply engraved in everyone's heart, so none of them dared to act rashly. Chu Kuangren glanced at the others and said, "The treasury is with me. If you want it, come and take it. However, I don't think I need to tell you what happened to Honorable Swordsman White Cloud. That must be because you used some kind of technique to forcefully increase your strength. That technique is not something that can be used easily. I don't believe you can use it again," one of the cultivators said. They realized it. At that moment, Chu Kuangren no longer had that majestic domineering aura. That's right, I used the primordial purple haze. Chu Kuangren said frankly. As soon as he said that, everyone's expression changed. The primordial purple haze, the foundation of becoming a sage. You used the primordial purple haze to forcefully increase your cultivation level and kill Honorable Swordsman White Cloud. What a waste. D***. If I had the primordial purple haze, I could have become a sage within 100 years. Why didn't you give it to me? The strong cultivators at the scene were having a mental breakdown. Some screamed at the sky, some sighed, and some looked at Chu Kuangren as if he was their father's murderer. The primordial purple haze had a huge impact on everyone. This was the result that Chu Kuangren wanted. Many strong cultivators knew that there was a sage's opportunity of fortune in the Honorable Yuan Ling's treasury. Many honorables had their eyes on this sage's opportunity of fortune. After all, the fact that he had the Honorable Yuan Ling's treasury with him had been exposed. Now that he had taken the initiative to confess that the sage's opportunity of fortune was gone, not only would it not bring him any trouble, it would also reduce the interest of the top cultivators in the treasury, which would save him a lot of trouble. The remaining cultivators would also be afraid of the Black Heaven sect behind him and would not dare to make a move. At that thought, Chu Kuangren could not help but praise himself for being quick-witted. Even if there were still strong cultivators who had designs on his treasury, he still had the seventh forefather by his side. That was a supreme being at the peak of his prime. I can't believe that the great honorable swordsman White Cloud would covet the opportunity of fortune of a junior. What's more, he was killed instead. For an honorable supreme to end up like this, it's really sad. Li Yi lamented as he looked at the ruins of the city hall. Everyone in this world is driven by profit. Even the almighty sages are no exception, let alone honorables. Chu Kuangren said. He did not think that Honorable Swordsman White Cloud's actions were unforgivable. After all, humans die in pursuit of wealth just like birds die in pursuit of food. Unfortunately, they were the ones who wanted to harm him. Then there was no room for negotiation. Who cared if he was an honorable or a sage? He would just have to kill him. Everyone in this world is driven by profit. Junior Chu, you're really talented in writing, and your words are so eloquent. Li Yi exclaimed. Even he wanted to befriend Chu Kuangren, let alone Li Xingqian. I'm just expressing my feelings. Chu Kuangren smiled helplessly and left. This time, no one stopped him. Looking at his departing figure, the crowd felt as if they were watching a young great emperor rise with unstoppable momentum. After this battle, Chu Kuangren's name will once again shock the world. A cultivator exclaimed. The death of an honorable supreme could not be hidden. Chapter 45. Red rain fell from the sky. An honorable supreme has fallen. Who is it? Who is it? Who killed him? In the entire White Cloud City, only City Lord Yi Wuhan is a supreme venerable. Could it be that the supreme venerable who died was him? Everyone had seen the red rain. There was no way to hide it. Everyone was immersed in the shock of the death of an honorable. Chu Kuangren walked on the street and listened to everyone's words. His face was expressionless, but his heart was filled with helplessness. Being famous was like being fat. This time, his name was going to shake the world again. He was already so handsome, so famous and so talented. Was it really good for other cultivators to look at him like this? Chu Kuangren was depressed. Soon, he returned to the White Jade Hotel. Brother Chu, do you know what that domineering aura was? What happened in the city lord's residence? Li Xingqian quickly asked. He knew that Chu Kuangren was attending a banquet in the city lord's residence. Chu Kuangren nodded. Nothing big happened. I just killed an honorable. Li Xingqian and the others were shocked. They suspected that there was something wrong with their ears. Even a Ji Zun had died, and this was still not a big deal? Wait a minute. Li Xingqian noticed the key point in Chu Kuangren's words. I just killed an honorable. Brother Chu, did you kill an honorable? The others curled their lips and thought that Li Xingqian's words were hilarious. How could Chu Kuangren kill an honorable? He was just a nascent soul cultivator. Chu Kuangren nodded and did not deny it. The others were even more shocked. This guy really had the guts to admit it. A supreme sky pride is indeed a supreme sky pride. No one can match his shamelessness. He can even brag without a script, someone muttered. Li Xianxia laughed. Brother Chu, you really know how to joke. By the way, Brother Li Yilei is dead. I killed him too. Let me tell you this. Chu Kuangren did not care whether the others believed him or not. He calmly announced Yilei's death. Upon hearing that, Li Xianxia's expression changed slightly. He stared at Chu Kuangren for a while before sighing. That's a shame. That guy was one of the best cultivator geniuses. I can't believe he fell halfway through. There was regret on his face, but there was no sadness. Chu Kuangren was surprised. He's not your friend? Not really. It's just that we're all from the White Cloud City. We'll occasionally meet each other, but that's all there is to it. Chu Kuangren finally understood. By the way, Brother Chu, why did you kill him? It's a long story. You can ask your father about it. I still have something to do, so I'll head back to my room to rest first, Chu Kuangren said. In the wing room, Chu Kuangren took out a few healing pills and handed them to Lan Yu. You've been injured in this battle. Go back and rest well. I still have the residual effects of the primordial violet qi in my body. I also need to go into seclusion for a few days to digest it. Young master, do you need me to protect you? Hey, it's fine. The 7th patriarch is here. With the 7th patriarch around, Chu Kuangren was not worried that he would be disturbed. Although the 7th patriarch had disappeared after the death of Honorable Swordsman White Cloud, Chu Kuangren knew that the 7th patriarch was secretly protecting him. While Chu Kuangren was in seclusion, the news of him possessing the Yuanling treasury and killing Honorable Swordsman White Cloud gradually spread. In an instant, the whole White Cloud City was in an uproar. So Brother Chu didn't lie to me. Li Xianxia, who had just asked his father about the whole story, was shocked and in disbelief. At the same time, he had doubts in his heart. They were all cultivators of the same generation, so why was Brother Chu so outstanding? With the White Cloud City as the epicenter, the news of Honorable Swordsman White Cloud's death continued to spread throughout the Azure Dragon domain and even the entire firmament star. In the Sage Orthodoxy, Jiang Valley. When the tough-looking prodigy from Xiang Valley heard this news, he immediately stood up from his chair. Is this for real? It's true. The White Cloud City is reigning red, and Honorable Swordsman White Cloud is indeed dead. Moreover, when Chu Kuangren killed Honorable Swordsman White Cloud, many cultivators in White Cloud City witnessed it. How is that possible? Rumor has it that he used the primordial purple haze to forcefully increase his cultivation level. Even so, it's still shocking enough. The purple-robed young man felt a little better. So it was because of the purple haze. But no matter what, it was true that Chu Kuangren had killed Honorable Swordsman White Cloud. In this aspect, he was no longer comparable to Chu Kuangren. I didn't expect Brother Chu to be so capable. I admit my defeat. One day, I'll definitely spar with you. The school of White Lotus Maiden Sage suddenly spoke. Many cultivators felt sour in their hearts when they heard this. The White Lotus Maiden Sage was one of the top sky prides in the world. Not only was she beautiful, she was also the dream lover of many male cultivators. No one had ever seen her treat a man with such respect before. Who would have thought that she would speak up for Chu Kuangren and even openly admit that she wanted to spar with Chu Kuangren? Her actions broke the hearts of many male cultivators. You relied on external items to kill Honorable Swordsman White Cloud, not your own strength. What's there to be proud of? The Royal Azure Dynasty's third prince also spoke up. Chu Kuangren had injured his elder brother, and he already disliked him, so of course, he had to mock him. However, the Black Heaven sect could not sit still after hearing that. If you're so capable, why don't you go kill one of them? Chu Kuangren's #1 fan, the Black Heaven sect's Daoist Nangong Huang said. Our elder senior brother's talent is unparalleled. That's why he could absorb the primordial purple haze and kill an honorable supreme. If it was someone else, like a certain prince, even 10 primordial purple haze wouldn't be able to do it. His #2 fan, Murong Xian, also mocked him. Faced with the sarcasm, the royal Azure dynasty's princes all spoke up. A war of words broke out between the two sage orthodoxies. It's a fact that he killed an honorable supreme. Our elder's senior brother is unparalleled in this world. Whether you guys admit it or not, it's a fact. Oh my, unparalleled? How arrogant. If I didn't know better, I would have thought that your elder senior brother had become an emperor. Our elder senior brother is a young emperor. It's only a matter of time before he becomes an emperor. Unlike your so-called crown prince, who couldn't even withstand a single sword attack from our elder senior brother. He's hopeless in this lifetime. *T. The crown prince defeated 6 sage orthodoxies in a row. All the Daoists couldn't even withstand a single punch from the crown prince. He's the one who's unparalleled. Is your crown prince powerful? That's because I was in closed-door meditation when he arrived. Otherwise, I could have stopped his path of invincibility even without Chu Kuangren. Yuan Hong of the Dharma sect said. Now that I've broken through to the paradise realm, if you have the guts, let the royal Azure dynasty's crown prince fight me again. Fang Tian of the Five Ways sect said. The war of words between the royal Azure dynasty and the Black Heaven sect gradually spread to the entire Azure Dragon domain. All the sky prides from the other sage orthodoxies joined in. In the end, the royal Azure dynasty issued an imperial edict. The gist of it was as follows. Princess Linglong of the royal Azure dynasty was looking for a Daoist partner. Hence, a martial arts contest was held. The winner was the royal Azure dynasty's fiancé. The moment the imperial edict was announced, the world was in an uproar. After all, the royal Azure dynasty was a sage orthodoxy. If one could become their son-in-law, it would be a great boon. Resources, techniques, connections, what else could they not have? This was the perfect opportunity for them to reach the heavens in a single bound. Moreover, it was rumored that Princess Linglong of the royal Azure dynasty was one of the most beautiful women in the world. Her beauty was comparable to the White Lotus maiden sage. As long as he married her, he would be able to enjoy endless happiness with women. Beauties, power, wealth, resources, they had everything. In an instant, all the cultivators in the world rushed to the royal Azure dynasty. Chapter 46. White Jade Hotel, Wing Room. Chu Kuangren opened his eyes and woke up from his closed-door meditation. His cultivation base had improved tremendously. He had gone from early-stage nascent soul realm to complete, and he was only half a step away from the paradise realm. This primordial purple haze is indeed extraordinary. Its residual effects have allowed my cultivation base to break through several small realms. Moreover, the Daoist insights I gained from absorbing the primordial purple haze will be of great help to my future cultivation. Chu Kuangren smiled in satisfaction. Although his cultivation base was at the complete nascent soul realm, his Daoist insights had far exceeded his realm, and he was not any weaker than a battle monarch. No, he might even be comparable to an honorable. The primordial purple haze was too powerful. Young lad, looks like you've gained quite a lot. The seventh forefather's voice came from the void. Then the void rippled, and the seventh forefather stepped out of it. He was dressed in a white robe, and he had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He looked like a handsome middle-aged man. Greetings, seventh forefather. Chu Kuangren stood up and saluted. He only learned of the seventh forefather's identity when he was in the city hall. He was the seventh sect leader of the Black Heaven sect, and his seniority was much higher than his honorable teachers. He would never have thought that the seventh forefather would be his protector, especially when he was in the heavenly deterioration stage 5 state. Thinking of this, he could not help but feel a sense of respect. You're welcome. I should be the one bowing to you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be where I am now. The seventh forefather's face was filled with gratitude, and he bowed to Chu Kuangren. An honorable supreme bowing to a junior. If such a thing were to spread, many people would be scared to death. Chu Kuangren quickly dodged. Seventh forefather, aren't you making things difficult for me? Who do you think you are? How would I dare accept such a bow from you? This bow is worth it, the seventh forefather said solemnly. Cultivators who had not entered the heavenly deterioration stage 5 would never understand the pain. The feeling of watching oneself fall from the peak to the point of death without being able to stop it was too torturous. Chu Kuangren's life extension pill had not only allowed him to return to his peak and extend his lifespan, but it had also given him another chance to pursue the supreme Daoist path. The seventh forefather swore in his heart that from now on, his life belonged to Chu Kuangren. Even if he had to die, he would protect Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren was helpless. When the seventh forefather asked about the origin of that life extension pill, Chu Kuangren could only say that he found it in the Yuan Ling Supreme Treasure's vault. After all, it was impossible for the seventh forefather to know everything about the vault. Walking out of the room, Chu Kuangren saw Lan Yu leaning against a tree. She wore a blue and white dress, and her silver hair draped over her shoulders. She was extremely beautiful, and the surrounding scenery paled in comparison to her. This young lady has been guarding here ever since she recovered from her injuries 2 days ago. She hasn't left my side at all. She's a good lady, the seventh forefather said to Chu Kuangren telepathically. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. She's a good girl. Young master. Sensing that Chu Kuangren had exited his closed-door meditation, Lan Yu went up to greet him. How are your injuries? I'm fine now. Yes, thank you for your hard work these past 2 days. Chu Kuangren reached out and plucked a fallen leaf from her head and said gently. Lan Yu felt her heartbeat quicken and her heart palpitate. A blush quickly appeared on her cold and beautiful face, making her look even more beautiful. No, it's all right. Cough, cough. A cough came from the side. It was Li Xingxian. Lan Yu immediately reverted to her sacred and cold demeanor. Her eyes were as sharp as knives as she glared at him. For some reason, Li Xingxian suddenly shuddered. Brother Li, I haven't seen you for a few days. How have you been? Chu Kuangren smiled gently. Brother Chu, you have no idea how chaotic the outside world has been while you were in closed-door meditation. Li Xingxian said excitedly. Oh, how chaotic. Chu Kuangren laughed. What do you think? It's all because you killed Honorable Swordsman White Cloud. At this point, Li Xingxian could not help but feel shocked. When others came out to train, they would usually start with small tasks such as killing bandits, beasts, or participating in a few martial arts competitions. But Chu Kuangren killed an Honorable Supreme the moment he came out. If you're so powerful, why do you still need to train? Then, Li Xingxian told Chu Kuangren about what happened in the past few days. Chu Kuangren was not surprised. On the surface, there were not many Honorable Supremes in the Azure Dragon domain. The death of one was a big deal. Not to mention that one died in the hands of a junior like him. It would be strange if the outside world did not cause a commotion. What surprised him was that this incident would cause a war of words between several sage orthodoxies. That was rare. There was also that martial arts competition. How could sage orthodoxies do something like that? By the way, Brother Chu, are you going to the martial arts competition? Li Xingxian asked. I'm not interested in Princess Linglong. Why would I go? Chu Kuangren shook his head and said bluntly. Li Xingxian was surprised. Princess Linglong is one of the most beautiful women in the world. Brother Chu, are you really not interested in her? Now that you mention it, a little. But no matter how beautiful she is, can she be prettier than my Lan Yu? Chu Kuangren laughed. Lan Yu, who was beside him, smiled. She was secretly delighted. Li Xingxian laughed. Miss Lan is the most beautiful woman in the world. Naturally, there are not many who can compare to her. However, Princess Linglong is not bad either. Rumor has it that she has the godly Daoist physique. Chu Kuangren was stunned. The godly Daoist physique that can greatly increase a cultivator's cultivation level and enter a state of enlightenment after their first night? That's right. Li Xingxian let out a smile that all men would understand. There were thousands of physiques in the world, and there were all kinds of strange ones. The godly Daoist physique was second only to the supreme Daoist physique. Moreover, this physique was a little special. The possessor of this physique would release a kind of godly essence during their first sexual intercourse. It had the magical effect of greatly increasing a cultivator's cultivation level and even entering a state of enlightenment. Therefore, since ancient times, cultivators who possessed this physique, regardless of gender, were sought after by countless cultivators. Fortunately, Princess Linglong is the eldest princess of the royal Azure dynasty and has a powerful background. Otherwise, someone with a physique like hers would have long been abducted. Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded. This martial arts contest will gather Sky Prides from all over the world. I heard that Sky Prides from other domains will be attending as well, so it'll be very lively. I plan to leave in a few days. Brother Chu, are you really not going? Li Xingchen asked again. Chu Kuangren pondered for a while. Then I'll go. He was not going because of Princess Linglong, but because he was out on a journey to gain experience. Naturally, he wanted to see the world. Now that so many Sky Prides were heading towards the royal Azure dynasty, there was no better place for him to go than to see the world. Hee, Brother Chu, you're very strong. I'm sure you'll come out on top in this martial arts contest. Li Xingchen winked at Chu Kuangren and let out a smile that all men would understand. Chu Kuangren rolled his eyes. You're thinking too much. I'm only going to be curious about the Sky Prides. I have no intention of joining the contest. I understand. Li Xingchen chuckled. Chu Kuangren shook his head helplessly. He was too lazy to explain. 3 days later, Chu Kuangren and the others departed for the royal Azure dynasty. The royal Azure dynasty was 1,000,000 miles away from the White Cloud City, but there was a transportation tool in the firmament star called the Fairy Summoner Boat. It only required a certain amount of soul stones to travel long distances. It was very convenient. Chapter 47. The capital city of the Royal Azure Dynasty. Unlike the other sage orthodoxies, the Royal Azure Dynasty was established in the form of a nation with a vast territory. As the capital city of a nation, it was even more prosperous than White Cloud City. There were all kinds of cultivation shops on the streets, and cultivators were everywhere. There were even a few Paradise Realm cultivators popping up from time to time. TSK, this capital city sure is bustling, Chu Kuangren said. I know, right? Boom, at that moment, a powerful energy wave erupted at the end of the street, and the crowd was stirred. Quick, there's a duel going on. Let's go check it out. There's going to be a good show again. There's an endless stream of Sky Prides coming to the capital city these past few days. It's said that 2 tigers cannot live on the same mountain. Now that these guys are gathered together, how can they not get into trouble? Many people immediately rushed to the end of the street. Li Xingchen dragged Chu Kuangren along to join in the fun. At the end of the street, on the rooftop of a tall building, 2 young men were confronting each other. Their powerful auras were unleashed without restraint. I didn't expect the Jiang Valley to join in the fun too. But if you want to marry the princess, you must be dreaming. The cultivator in white robes said coldly with a look of disdain. On the other side, the cultivator from the Jiang Valley, the young man with a tough face, immediately replied, It doesn't matter if I can marry the princess or not. As long as I'm here, the sacred lands of serene wisdom can forget about it. Bullsh *T. Bullsh *T. F *CK, do it if you have the guts. Come on, I'm not afraid of you. The 2 Daoists from the 2 great sage orthodoxies were like shrews on the rooftop, and after a round of cursing, they started fighting. Chu Kuangren and the others arrived at the scene. So it's Huayun from the sacred lands of serene wisdom and Lin Badian from the Jiang Valley. No wonder they started fighting. Li Xingchen said in realization. Chu Kuangren was puzzled. Brother Chu, you may not know this, but the hatred between these 2 sage orthodoxies has been going on for a long time. Rumor has it that the ancestors of these 2 sage orthodoxies once fought over a woman. But after that, the woman refused to marry either of them. Not only did the 2 ancestors not give up, but it also became more and more intense. During the development of the orthodoxies, the 2 orthodoxies often fought each other for various reasons. There were a few times when a war of sage orthodoxies almost broke out. Li Xingchen said. Chu Kuangren was speechless. That's it? What kind of woman is so powerful that their ancestors were so infatuated with her? I don't know. Li Xingqian shook his head. What he knew was all hearsay, but Ziyang Valley and Spirit Illusion Holy Land had a long history of grievances. When the disciples of the two sides met, there would always be fights. On the tall building, the battle between the two young geniuses became more and more intense. The violent Daoist rhymes spread out, attracting many cultivators to watch. There were even some prodigies who had come to participate in the betrothal contest. The two orthodoxies are still the same. Childish. A young cultivator in white robes could not help but ridicule. Then he shifted his gaze and swept past the crowd. Suddenly he seemed to see someone, and his eyes revealed surprise. It's him! The person the young man saw was Chu Kuangren. There were many people in the crowd, but he noticed Chu Kuangren at first glance. Chu Kuangren's fairy-like appearance was even more attractive than the Sky Pride battles. Great, I finally get to see you today. The young man sneered. These days, Chu Kuangren's name had spread all over the world, and his portrait had naturally spread. The young man had seen him before, and he believed that he could not be wrong. There was only one person in this world with that kind of appearance and temperament. At that moment, Chu Kuangren, who was enjoying the battle, noticed that someone was spying on him, and it seemed that the person was hostile. What's going on? Chu Kuangren turned around and saw a young man walking towards him. While he was puzzled, the young man suddenly shouted, I am Fangtan from the Five Ways sect. I'm here to learn from elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect. His voice was so loud that everyone on the street heard it. Suddenly, the crowd was in an uproar. Even the Sky Prides from Jiang Valley and Serene Wisdom Holy Land who were fighting stopped and scanned the crowd. Elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect, it's Chu Kuangren. Where is he? That Chu Kuangren who declared war on the world, he's here too. Elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect, where is he? Quick, ask him to come out and fight me. Let me see what a supreme Sky Pride is like. See me, that's a ruthless person who killed an honorable swordsman. He only managed to kill honorable swordsman White Cloud with the help of the primordial purple haze. In terms of cultivation base, honorable swordsman White Cloud could kill him with one finger. All the cultivators were shocked. Chu Kuangren's reputation was too big now. He was even comparable to some of the honorable supremes. Supreme Daoist physique, declaring war on the world, killing honorable supremes, Yuan Ling's treasury. Even the cultivators who did not pay attention to him would have heard of all of his deeds. Chu Kuangren could not help but twitch his mouth. Who is this person? Does he need to shout so loudly? And he dares to challenge me so easily? How childish. Chu Kuangren's appearance was outstanding. Almost as soon as Fang Tian shouted his name, the crowd quickly found him. At that moment, many people were amazed. Many of the female cultivators' eyes lit up. I can't believe there's such a good-looking person in this world. Oh my God, if I were Princess Linglong, I wouldn't have held this martial arts competition. I would have just married the royal Azure Dynasty king. Yeah, this person is just too good-looking. Such an otherworldly person, is he an immortal? The silver-haired lady beside him is also a stunning beauty. In my opinion, even Princess Linglong can't compare to her. The crowd's voices rose one after another. Fang Tian was also approaching Chu Kuangren step by step. A mysterious Daoist rhyme gradually flowed from his body, like the endless flow of the five elements. Li Xingqian, who was beside Chu Kuangren, said, Brother Chu, this person is the Daoist of the Five Ways sect, Fangtan. He once publicly announced that if he sees you, he will show you the power of the Five Ways Dao. Not only that, I heard that after he was defeated by Guchanga, he broke through to the Paradise Realm. Be careful, I'll leave first. Li Xingqian said and took a few steps back. He looked like he was cheering him on from behind. Chu Kuangren's face darkened. You're such a good friend. Master, let me deal with him, Lan Yu said. Chu Kuangren was relieved. His Lan Yu was indeed reliable. What? The great elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect is going to hide behind a woman. Fang Tian sneered as he stood in front of Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren glanced at him with an emotionless gaze. If you can't even defeat Lan Yu, why would I need to do it? Lan Yu raised her chin slightly and said indifferently, not everyone is qualified to challenge my master. Are you qualified? Then her blue and white dress faded away, and with a flash of light, a gorgeous silver-white armor appeared. She spread her wings and revealed her battle stance. The crowd was slightly surprised. The winged human tribe. Humans were not the only ones on Firmament Star. There were other tribes such as the winged human tribe, the Yasha tribe, the Ashura tribe, and so on. Among them, there were even sacred tribes that were on par with sage orthodoxies. A mere servant wants to stop me? What a joke! Fang Dun snorted coldly, and a ball of golden light circulated in the center of his palm. Then an extremely sharp sword chi burst out. Chapter 48. Daoist rhymes filled the air as a sharp golden sword chi rushed towards Lan Yu. That attack had the power of a perfected nascent soul realm cultivator. Lan Yu was an early-stage nascent soul realm cultivator when she was first summoned, but she was now a late-stage nascent soul realm cultivator. With the help of her supreme Daoist physique, even a paradise realm cultivator would not be able to gain the upper hand. She shattered the sword chi with a single punch. Fang An was surprised, but his eyes were filled with battle intent as he said coldly, "All right, looks like I've underestimated you. I'll defeat you first, then your master. You won't get the chance." Lan Yu summoned her scepter of light without hesitation. With the sacred weapon's help, her aura skyrocketed once again. With a single punch, the majestic light poise exploded. Even a sky pride like Fang Tian was blasted back a few feet. Many cultivators around were shocked. This lady is so powerful that she can suppress Fang Tian? Fang Tian is a paradise realm cultivator. Even the royal Azure Dynasty crown prince Gu Chang'e might not be able to suppress him, but this lady can do it. Who is she? Since when did the winged human tribe have such a sky pride? She's even willing to be Chu Kuangren's follower. This is unbelievable. Everyone was shocked by Lan Yu's strength, but they were even more curious about Chu Kuangren. If a follower could be so powerful, what about Chu Kuangren himself? 5 elements, fire elemental technique. Fang Tian formed a mysterious hand sign as Daoist rhymes circulated around his body. Crimson-red flames surged out. Lan Yu did not dodge. Instead, she threw a punch and the light poise shattered the flames. Her Valkyrie appearance shocked everyone. 5 elements, E-wood art. Fang Tian's expression became more serious as his Daoist rhymes became denser. The spiritual power within his body circulated as he unleashed his full power. Around Lan Yu, countless vines formed from spiritual energy suddenly appeared and wrapped around her in an instant. 5 elements, aged gold art. Fang Tian took this opportunity to use the 5 elements ultimate technique again, and several sharp sword chi slashed out. Lan Yu snorted as the spiritual power within her body erupted. She flapped her white wings and countless spiritual chi blades spun, cutting off the vines that were wrapped around her. Then she threw a punch. The light fist shattered all the sword chi. You want to challenge my master with just this? You must be dreaming. Lan Yu sneered. Lan Yu's words enraged Fang Tian. A mere servant girl dares to be so arrogant. I'll show you what the 5 elements are. Daoist rhymes circulated around Fang Tian's body, and an extremely terrifying aura leaked out. His body gradually shone with 5 colors. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth. 5 types of light flickered in Fang Tian's palm, forming a vast and boundless power. This power even shook the space. Sage technique, 5 elements capture. Fang Tian clawed out fiercely with his palm and 5 types of light converged to form a huge colorful hand. This attack was a sage technique. It was extremely terrifying. Even insightful emptiness realm cultivators would be easily defeated. There was a serious look in Lan Yu's eyes. Next, a beam of white light shot up into the sky from her body as she spread her wings. A vast aura of the Great Path emanated from her. Runes of the Great Path flashed back and forth around her, making her look incomparably holy. Seeing this, the crowd could not help but be shocked. They felt a sense of worship towards Lan Yu. The pupils of some experts constricted in disbelief. This is a Daoist physique transformation. Boundless radiance. The legendary supreme Daoist physique, the holy radiant physique. She also has a supreme Daoist physique. The experts who recognized the holy radiant physique were shocked. Such a physique had not appeared for many years. Similar to Chu Kuangren's exquisite 9 orifices sword heart, they were both supreme Daoist physiques that had the terrifying potential to break through to the Emperor realm. With the help of the boundless radiance transformation, Lan Yu activated her scepter of light and formed a long spear in front of her. There were runes circulating on the spear, and a terrifying light-based Daoist rhyme was condensed within it. Boom! The long spear pierced through the air, and a loud explosion reverberated through the void. This attack was extremely powerful. When it collided with the 5-colored palm, the shockwaves from the explosion of the two energies crazily slammed into the void, and the surrounding buildings began to shake. Lan Yu stood on the spot, surrounded by the flowing light, looking extremely holy. Opposite her, Feng Tian's expression was gloomy. He did not expect his strongest attack to not be able to defeat Lan Yu. How could he fight Chu Kuangren if he could not even defeat a servant girl? At that thought, Feng Tian held his breath. Who allowed you to fight in private under the emperor's jurisdiction? At that moment, a majestic female voice came from the sky. A carriage pulled by 6 divine chariots soared through the sky, and a terrifying aura descended. The surrounding cultivators quickly knelt down. Greetings, Princess Linglong. Only Daoists from sage orthodoxies like Chu Kuangren and Feng Tian were allowed to stand. Their status was equal to Princess Linglong's. Princess Linglong has appeared. I didn't expect to see her so soon. I wonder if she's as beautiful as the rumors say. The Sky Prides exchanged glances. Feng Tian and Lan Yu also stopped fighting. Everyone here is an outstanding talent of this generation. How can you fight in public? Princess Linglong questioned again. You're right, Prince. Lin Batian, Huayun, and the others replied. This was the Royal Azure Dynasty's territory, and the person in front of them was the princess who was going to fight for her hand in marriage. All right, since everyone here is new and doesn't know the rules of the capital city, I'll let this matter rest. Tonight, I'll host a banquet at the Thousand Island Lake and invite all the Sky Prides here. I hope everyone will do me the honor, Princess Linglong said. We'll definitely attend the princess's invitation. The few Sky Prides laughed. Elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect, I'll be waiting for you at the Thousand Island Lake. At that moment, Princess Linglong said again. Chu Kuangren was stunned. Why did she mention me? Are we close? As soon as Princess Linglong finished speaking, everyone's gaze turned to Chu Kuangren. They were filled with jealousy and hatred. Especially Feng Tian, he looked like he was going to eat someone alive. There are so many Sky Prides here, but Princess Linglong only mentioned Chu Kuangren. What does that mean? It means that Chu Kuangren is special in Princess Linglong's heart. Unknowingly, Chu Kuangren had taken the lead in this marriage contest. Some people were stunned. Princess, you can't hurt us like that. You're messing with our mentality. Princess, he's Chu Kuangren. He's the one who injured the Royal Azure Dynasty's crown prince. Someone beside her reminded. Yes, I know. Princess Linglong said calmly. Didn't you say that you'll show no mercy to him if you see him? Someone remembered what the other Sky Prides had said. Princess Linglong was among them. I remember, but I didn't expect elder senior brother Black Heaven to be so handsome. Princess Linglong paused for a moment, looking a little shy. The crowd was devastated again. I didn't expect you to be like this, Princess Linglong. F***CK, so what if you're good-looking? The crowd looked at Chu Kuangren, some of them gritting their teeth in anger. The marriage contest had not started yet, but everyone felt like they had already lost. Chapter 49. Princess Linglong left, leaving behind a group of devastated Sky Prides. Feng Tian stared at Chu Kuangren and said, I'll defeat you in the martial arts competition to prove to the princess that I'm stronger than you. Me too, Lin Badian said coldly. Some of the Sky Prides threatened him. Some of the Sky Prides gave Chu Kuangren a meaningful look. When most of the people had left, Li Xingxian walked up and looked at Chu Kuangren in admiration. Brother Chu, you really are amazing. Even Princess Linglong can't resist your charm. Chu Kuangren stood there and rubbed his chin. Brother Li, I seriously suspect that Princess Linglong is trying to trick me. How can that be? If I were a girl, I would definitely like you too, Li Xingqian said. Forget it, let's find a place to stay first. The three of them found a luxurious inn to stay in. When night fell, Li Xingqian dragged Chu Kuangren to the Thousand Island Lake for the banquet. The Thousand Island Lake, as the name suggested, was a lake with many islands. It was extremely vast, hence the name. The scenery of the lake was beautiful, and the place where Princess Linglong held the banquet was the centermost island of the lake. Inside a palace, many Sky Prides gathered, including some from sage orthodoxies such as Fang Tian and Lin Badian. When Chu Kuangren brought Lan Yu and Li Xingqian in, everyone's gaze was on them. Some were curious, some were hostile. Chu Kuangren had long gotten used to the feeling of being the center of attention. He calmly found a place to sit. Let them look, it's not like I'll lose anything anyway. Besides, I'm so handsome, it's a waste not to show them. The princess has arrived. At that moment, a voice came from outside. A woman in a gorgeous robe slowly walked in. The woman's eyebrows were like distant mountains, and her lips were like red pills. She was dressed in a gorgeous robe, and her figure was graceful. She had a noble temperament, and her face was incomparably beautiful. It was a kind of beauty that was superior, just like a queen. Everyone subconsciously looked at Lan Yu, who was beside Chu Kuangren. These two women were the most beautiful in the world. One was cold, sacred, and inviolable. The other was incomparably beautiful and unapproachable. If Lan Yu was the snow lotus that grew on the precipice, then Princess Linglong would be the delicate and wealthy peony. Each had their own merits. Greetings, Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong is indeed as beautiful as the rumors say. Being able to see the princess today makes this trip worthwhile. The prodigies stood up to welcome him. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, sat calmly on the spot. He glanced at Princess Linglong, then at Lan Yu. My Lan Yu is still the prettiest. Upon hearing Chu Kuangren's words, Lan Yu was overjoyed. An irrepressible smile appeared on her face, making her look even more charming. Oh, is her name Lan Yu? Princess Linglong seemed to have heard Chu Kuangren's words. Lan Yu greets the princess. Lan Yu cupped his hands in greeting. You're welcome. Princess Linglong then looked at Chu Kuangren with a bright smile on her face. I'm very happy that Brother Chu is here. The prodigies gritted their teeth in anger. Damn, it's like this again. The princess only had eyes for Chu Kuangren. You're too kind, princess. The more Chu Kuangren thought about it, the more he felt that Princess Linglong was trying to set him up. What kind of princess would be so unreserved? The banquet began. The group of prodigies was sizing each other up. They all knew that everyone present was their opponent. Of course, they had to take this opportunity to observe them. Especially Chu Kuangren, who was the most scrutinized. Rumor has it that Brother Chu once used the primordial purple haze to kill Honorable Swordsman White Cloud and destroy the entire White Cloud City Hall. Your skills are truly admirable, one of the prodigies said. As soon as he said that, everyone looked at him strangely. At first glance, it sounded like he was praising Chu Kuangren. However, that was not the case. The emphasis on the word used was to imply that Chu Kuangren did not rely on his own cultivation base to kill an honorable supreme. Instead, he relied on external items, so it did not count. Destroying the entire White Cloud City Hall was a subtle insult to Chu Kuangren for being ruthless and merciless. He did not even spare the elderly, the young, the women, and the children. You sure know how to talk, huh? Chu Kuangren chuckled. Then he looked at the prodigy. He knew who he was. It was Huayun of the Sacred Lands of Serene Wisdom who battled the Jiang Valley Sky Pride on the street today. When I killed Honorable Swordsman White Cloud, it took me 2 strikes. How many strikes do you think it will take for me to kill you? Chu Kuangren said coldly. As soon as he said that, the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Huayun's expression changed. Brother Chu, what do you mean? I have no grudge against you, why are you threatening me in public? Can't answer? Why don't you try? Chu Kuangren smiled and slowly stood up. This action of his caused the hearts of everyone present to tremble. F***ck me. Was he really planning to kill someone at the princess banquet? Huayun's pupils shrunk and his heart was pounding. Being stared at by Chu Kuangren, he felt like a poisonous snake was coiling around his neck. The famous Chu Kuangren is indeed impressive. At that moment, a loud laugh came from outside the palace. A man dressed in a yellow robe walked in. Third brother. Princess Linglong greeted him when she saw him. Greetings, royal sister. The man was the royal Azure dynasty's third prince. His name was Gu Changfeng. Gu Changfeng looked at Chu Kuangren and said, I've long heard of Brother Chu's powerful cultivation base. I wonder if I have the honor of learning from you. Your Highness, would you like to try? All right. Chu Kuangren nodded and agreed. When they arrived at the empty space outside the palace, Gu Changfeng got into a stance and his Daoist rhymes circulated. He said, My royal brother was defeated by you. As his younger brother, I have to do something. Take this. As soon as he said that, a golden-colored dragon chi soared into the air and the roar of a dragon echoed in the air. A punch was unleashed. It was the sage technique, Dragon Slaughter Fist. Chu Kuangren's face was emotionless as he slashed out with the descendant self-sword in his hand. The purple sword ray instantly lit up the night sky. That sword ray was even more dazzling than the starry sky. As the sword ray flashed past, the dragon-shaped fist chi instantly dissipated. However, the horrifying sword ray did not stop at all as it headed straight towards Gu Changfeng. How is this possible? Gu Changfeng's pupils shrank and his expression changed. Seeing that the sword ray was getting closer and closer, Gu Changfeng was powerless to defend himself. He could not even dodge it. Fear was written all over his face. At that moment, a figure appeared in front of him. With a palm attack, a terrifying surge of spiritual power collided with the sword ray. A violent shockwave swept in all directions, causing the entire island to shake and the lake to tumble. It's Princess Linglong. I can't believe the princess has such a powerful cultivation base. Everyone was extremely shocked. Not only were they shocked by Chu Kuangren's sword attack, but they were also shocked by Princess Linglong's cultivation base. They were momentarily stunned. I can't believe he's so strong. Fang Tian, who had planned to challenge Chu Kuangren today, turned pale when he saw Chu Kuangren's sword attack. His Daoist core was shaken. He knew that he would not be able to withstand that attack. Not only him, but Huayan was also so scared that his legs were trembling. He could not believe that he had just challenged such a terrifying character. He now suspected that if Gu Changfeng had come a little later, he would have died here. Chapter 50. The Crown Prince of the Royal Azure Dynasty, Gu Chang'e, can take one sword attack from me, but you can't even take half a sword attack from me. No, that's not right either. Perhaps Gu Chang'e can't even take half a sword attack from me either. Chu Kuangren said arrogantly. When he defeated Gu Chang'e, he had just broken through to the nascent soul realm. Now that he was at the peak stage of the nascent soul realm, it would be even easier for him to defeat Gu Chang'e. Gu Changfeng's face turned pale. He wanted to refute, but he had no way to do so. If not for Princess Linglong's sudden intervention, he would not have been able to withstand the blow. The rest of the Heaven's favorites did not look too good either. It was true that Gu Chang'e had defeated 6 great sage orthodoxies in a row, but Gu Chang'e was not even worth mentioning in front of Chu Kuangren. What about them? Some of them were even inferior to Gu Chang'e. In front of Chu Kuangren, it was even more insignificant. This was a world of great competition. It was supposed to be a glorious battle between geniuses from all over the world. However, why did they feel like it was Chu Kuangren's stage? How could such a character appear in this epic? What's the point of having geniuses in this world then? One of the geniuses said in dissatisfaction. It was obvious that Chu Kuangren had left a huge impact on the crowd. Everyone, I have neglected this banquet. I will have to trouble everyone to leave first. I have something to discuss with fellow Daoist Chu. Princess Linglong suddenly said. She blocked Chu Kuangren's attack with a calm expression on her face. At this moment, no one dared to treat her as an ordinary princess. It was obvious that she was also a peerless heaven's favorite. She was even better than Gu Chang'e. The prodigies who came to attend the banquet left with various thoughts in their minds. Brother Chu, take your time chatting with the princess. I'll take my leave first. Li Xingchen winked at Chu Kuangren and chuckled. Third brother, you may leave as well, Princess Linglong said. Gu Changfeng hesitated. Leave. Princess Linglong repeated in a stern tone. Only then did Gu Changfeng leave. Soon, only Chu Kuangren, Lan Yu, and Princess Linglong were left. Princess Linglong glanced at Lan Yu and did not allow him to leave. She then turned to Chu Kuangren and said, if I didn't manage to block that sword attack just now, third brother would most likely die. Do you really want to kill him? The air turned solemn with a hint of coldness. Chu Kuangren chuckled. If so, what would you do? No, you're luring me to attack. The princess has tricked me so much. If I don't do something about it, it won't be right. I don't like to be used by others. Chu Kuangren had long noticed that Princess Linglong was trying to set him up. She had been nice to him and used the jealousy of the other sky prides to create trouble for him. How could he just sit there and wait for his death? You tricked me, so of course I'll return the favor. After seeing Princess Linglong, he immediately used the Eye of Revelation to check on her. She was at the insightful emptiness realm, and her battle prowess was even stronger than Gu Chang'e and Fang Tian. She was strong enough to block his sword attack just now. If I don't make a move, if I can't make a move in time, then wouldn't third brother really die under your sword? Princess Linglong said. Since it's my sword, I naturally have the confidence to control it. Chu Kuangren was very confident in his swordsmanship. Even if Princess Linglong did not make a move in the end, he would have been able to control the sword gleam in time to at least ensure that Gu Changfeng did not die. All right, now it's time to talk about why the princess has targeted me time and time again. Is it really to avenge your brother? I'm not targeting you. I'm just testing you. I would like to hear the details. Let's talk inside. When the three of them entered the palace, Princess Linglong immediately asked after she sat down, "What do you think of me?" Chu Kuangren was stunned for a moment. "Princess, are you going on a blind date with me? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I'm really not interested in you." His words made Princess Linglong frown. Not interested? F***, I'm beautiful, rich, powerful, and talented. How can there be men who are not interested in me? Princess Linglong, who was used to being the center of attention, felt a little aggrieved, but she did not show it. Instead, she said nonchalantly, "Then let's change the question. What do you think the others are here for?" Most of them are here for power, wealth, and status. A small portion of them are not here for power or wealth, but for your body, Chu Kuangren said. That's straightforward. Power, wealth, status, and resources. These were the goals of most people who came to participate in the betrothal contest. However, for Daoists from sage orthodoxies like Fang Tian and Lin Badian, they did not lack any of these. They were here for Princess Linglong's body. To be more precise, they were here for the godly essence of the godly Daoist physique. That's right, the godly essence of the godly essence of the godly Daoist physique is a treasure that every cultivator in the world yearns for. Because of this physique, I've even been targeted by a young emperor, Princess Linglong said. Chu Kuangren's expression changed slightly. Young emperor? The young emperor of the Shang clan from the Scarlet Phoenix domain. My father has promised me to the Shang clan's young emperor in order to strengthen the nation's power. Young emperor was the shorthand for the young emperor. Every young emperor was an unparalleled sky pride with extraordinary combat strength. They were much stronger than people like Gu Chang'e and Fang Tian. There were a total of 8 known young emperors in the Firmament Star, scattered across the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Scarlet Phoenix, and Black Tortoise domains. The Shang clan's young emperor sounds impressive, but what does that have to do with me? Chu Kuangren asked. The Shang clan's young emperor is only focused on Taoism. To him, I'm just a tool to aid his cultivation. Once I'm no longer useful, he'll just throw me away. Princess Linglong's tone was a little resentful. Chu Kuangren listened quietly without saying a word. I'm not willing to be a tool like that, so I organized this martial arts contest in hopes of finding a sky pride who can fight against the Shang clan's young emperor. And that person is you, Chu Kuangren. Previously, I used some tricks to test you, just to confirm your abilities. Now, it seems like I made the right choice. Chu Kuangren, I want you to defeat everyone, including the Shang clan's young emperor. I want you to be my legitimate fiancé. This is a collaboration. Chu Kuangren listened to Princess Linglong's words quietly. He understood now. Princess Linglong was an independent woman who was dissatisfied with her arranged marriage. However, in order to hide it from others, she wanted to find a marriage partner, and that partner was Chu Kuangren. I'm sorry, but I refuse. Firstly, I have all the power, wealth, and resources you have. The fiancé you want is just a formality. I don't think you'll let me touch you. Secondly, I don't need to offend a young emperor just for you. Chu Kuangren was not stupid. To him, the fiancé title was not tempting at all. The only person who could benefit from it was Princess Linglong. Are you afraid of the Shang clan's young emperor? I'm sorry, but psychological tricks don't work on me. Chu Kuangren raised an eyebrow. Shang clan's young emperor? He did not know how strong his opponent was, but if he had to be afraid, he had never been afraid of anyone. He could even kill honorable supremes, let alone a so-called young emperor. 3 things. As long as you promise me, I can promise you 3 things. I'm Princess Linglong, and I possess the godly Daoist physique. My achievements are limitless, and I'll definitely be able to help you in the future. Heh, if even I can't do it, then you definitely can't. Lan Yu, let's go. Chu Kuangren turned and left. Looking at his back, Princess Linglong gritted her teeth. The godly essence, don't you want it anymore? As long as you become my fiancé, I can promise to give you the godly essence to help you achieve your Tao. That was the last and most precious thing she could offer. To her, giving it to Chu Kuangren was better than giving it to the Shang clan's young emperor whom she had never met. At least Chu Kuangren's looks suited her taste. I'm sorry, but I've already said that I'm not interested in you. I, Chu Kuangren, do not need that kind of thing to achieve the supreme Tao. With that, Chu Kuangren left without looking back. Chapter 51. Brother Chu, how is it? After returning to the inn, Li Xingchen hurriedly came up to him. What do you mean? It's you and Princess Linglong. What else could we be doing? We were just exchanging our cultivation Daoist, and I'll be back soon after, Chu Kuangren replied. He did not have the habit of publicizing other people's private affairs. The marriage of convenience was Princess Linglong's business. He would not agree to it, nor would he interfere. Did Princess Linglong ask you to stay just to have an exchange on the Tao of cultivation? Li Xingchen asked with a "Are you kidding me?" expression. Not everyone is as full of yellow as you. Chu Kuangren rolled his eyes and said nothing more. After tonight, the news of Chu Kuangren defeating the third prince with a single sword attack had gradually spread among the sky prides in the capital city. Chu Kuangren did not care what kind of storm it would cause. The date of the groom search competition was getting closer and closer. A few days before the competition, something big happened in the Azure Dragon domain. The luminous moon's secret realm, which had disappeared for 10,000 years, had suddenly appeared in the sky above the North Sea. In the morning, just as Chu Kuangren finished his lucky draw, Li Xingchen rushed into the house anxiously as if something big had happened. Brother Li, what's wrong with you? Brother Chu, let's go. Come with me to the North Sea. Why are you going to the North Sea? Aren't you going to compete in marriage? Chu Kuangren laughed. The secret realm of the luminous moon, the residence of a sage that mysteriously disappeared tens of thousands of years ago, has appeared in the sky above the North Sea. If we don't go there soon, the opportunity will be snatched away by others. How can a martial arts competition for a spouse be more important than this? Li Xingxian said. Secret realm of bright moon. Chu Kuangren frowned. However, anything that could be related to a sage was definitely not something simple, so he was very interested in it as well. After calling Lan Yu, the few of them rushed to the North Sea. Apart from them, all the prodigies who had gathered in the royal capital to prepare for the joust for marriage had also headed to the North Sea. Because of this, the matter of the joust for a spouse had no choice but to be temporarily postponed. The sky above the turbulent North Sea was overcast with dark clouds. In the middle of the clouds, there was a silver-white gate, engraved with the image of a bright moon. The surroundings were already filled with countless experts. There were even quite a few supremes. These people looked at the luminous moon's secret realm with incomparably solemn eyes. The luminous moon's secret realm was the residence of the luminous moon saint 10,000 years ago. There has been no news of it for 10,000 years, but it has actually reappeared today. A venerable from Jiang Valley asked curiously. That's the luminous moon sage. He's a top-notch sage who swept through an entire era. He's not much weaker than a sage king. There must be quite a number of opportunities within his secret realm, said an honorable with a scorching gaze. Although they were all sage orthodoxies, and their orthodoxies had produced sages in the past, these sages had either fallen or were in a deep slumber. Therefore, they were still very eager for the opportunity of becoming a sage. Not to mention a top-notch sage like the luminous moon sage. None of the 8 great sage orthodoxies in the Azure Dragon domain had produced such a sage. There are indeed many treasures in the secret territory, but the prerequisite is that we must be able to open the secret territory's restriction. Elder Rian from the Black Heaven sect had also arrived. She looked at the luminous moon's secret territory in front of her and said indifferently. She was right. There was a very powerful restriction on the bright moon's secret realm. Even Supremes would not be able to approach it. This was also the reason why they stopped here. Otherwise, they would have rushed in a long time ago. Although this restriction is strong, it does not exclude cultivators below the Battle Monarch realm from entering. We can allow our disciples to go in and explore first. Whatever opportunities of fortune they obtain will depend on their own luck. One of the honorables said. They have already rushed over from the capital city. Before that, we shall seal off this place and prevent other cultivators from entering. Another honorable said domineeringly. His intention was clear. Our sage orthodoxies haven't even entered yet, so small fries like you shouldn't come and join in the fun. Hurry up and get lost. Some of the cultivators were so angry that their faces turned green, but there was nothing they could do. After all, the other party was a sage orthodoxy. They could not compete with them at all. The strong preyed on the weak. That was the eternal rule of the cultivation world. Soon, a group of sky prides arrived at the northern seas at the same time. Lin Badian from Jiang Valley, Fang Tian from the Five Ways sect, Huayun from the Serene Wisdom sect, the Maiden Sage and Bachelor Sage from the School of White Lotus had all arrived. Chu Kuangren and the others had also arrived. What a crowd! Chu Kuangren looked at the northern seas that had been completely surrounded. There were at least hundreds of thousands of cultivators gathered here. Meanwhile, at the central area closest to the luminous moon's secret realm, the higher-ups of several sage orthodoxies had gathered together. Beside them were sky prides from their respective orthodoxies, each of them hovering proudly in the air, looking extremely imposing. Especially Princess Linglong of the Royal Azure Dynasty, Guchanga. She was sitting in a carriage, surrounded by an entire army of well-equipped soldiers. Every single one of them had their heads held high and their eyes sparkled. Obviously, they were elite soldiers who had gone through hundreds of battles. The Royal Azure Dynasty's crown prince, Guchanga, had a calm expression on his face as he looked around. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said, "This guy seems to be recovering well. I thought he was going to collapse soon." The great orthodoxies are indeed great orthodoxies. How imposing! Li Xingxian lamented. Their white jade hotel could not compare to sage orthodoxies. Then, he stared in a certain direction and pulled Chu Kuangren's sleeve. "Brother Chu, it's the White Lotus Maiden Sage. Chu Kuangren followed his gaze and saw a lady in a white dress among the sky prides from several sage orthodoxies. This lady had long black hair that cascaded down her back like a waterfall. Her skin was smooth and supple, and there was a gentle smile on her delicate face. Many cultivators stared at that lady in a daze. Even the sky prides from the other sage orthodoxies could not help but take a second look at her. White Lotus Maiden Sage by Wan Qing, Paradise Realm Cultivation Base. Chu Kuangren used his eye of revelation to check. He realized that this White Lotus Maiden Sage's cultivation base was among the best among the sky prides from the sage orthodoxies. She was not any weaker than Princess Linglong. The White Lotus Maiden Sage still looks the same. She's as gentle as water. Li Xingqian suddenly sighed. Isn't it good to be gentle like water? Chu Kuangren asked. Brother Chu, you may not know this, but the Maiden Sage may look approachable, but she's actually a flower on a high mountain. Countless people have tried to woo her over the years, but none of them succeeded. Besides that, I've never heard of her getting close to any man. There are no rumors about her at all. At this point, Li Xingqian paused for a moment and looked at Chu Kuangren with a strange gaze. The only exception is that a few days ago, the White Lotus Maiden Sage had publicly announced that she wants to spar with you, Brother Chu. At that point, Li Xingqian's tone was a little sour. Chu Kuangren shrugged. I don't know. He did not pay much attention to such news. Brother Chu, it's enough that you have Lan Yu by your side. Why do Princess Linglong and the White Lotus Maiden Sage have a thing for you? Li Xingqian said bitterly. Come, Brother Li, look at my face. Li Xingqian looked at him for a while, and his eyes gradually became wet. He considered himself one of the most handsome men in the world, but compared to Chu Kuangren, he was more than a level lower. No wonder the White Lotus Maiden Sage and Princess Linglong treated him differently. At that thought, Li Xingqian felt a wave of sadness. Chu Kuangren smiled and stopped fooling around with Li Xingqian. Together with Lan Yu, he flew towards Elder Ruyan and bowed. Greetings, Elder. Chapter 52. Eldest Senior Brother. Greetings, Eldest Senior Brother. Beside Elder Ruyan, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and a few other Daoists quickly stepped forward and looked at Chu Kuangren in surprise. And, junior brothers and junior sisters, how have you been? Eldest Senior Brother, we've all heard about what you've done these past few days. Junior Brother admires you more and more. Murong Xian raised his thumb and said with a face full of admiration. Nangong Huang, who was beside him, did not say anything, but it was not difficult to see from his fanatical gaze that his admiration for Chu Kuangren was growing day by day. Chu Kuangren smiled faintly and did not say anything. Being too humble would make one look hypocritical, and being too complacent would easily attract jealousy and hatred. At this time, one should pretend to be indifferent. Sure enough, the eyes of Nangong Huang and the others became even more fervent. Eldest Senior Brother is indeed Eldest Senior Brother. He's able to maintain an indifferent Dao heart after doing such an earth-shattering thing. He's simply a role model for my generation. The sage orthodoxy's honorables also gave Chu Kuangren a second glance. This man is the Black Heaven Sect's elder senior brother, Chu Kuangren. Just like the rumors say, his looks are peerless, and his temperament is extraordinary. Honorable swordsman White Cloud was killed by him. Talented people are born in every generation. It's a pity that such a supreme heaven's favorite doesn't belong to the Five Elements sect. What a pity! In the era of great competition, geniuses come forth in large numbers. This person might be one of the brightest stars of this era. This person can be called the young emperor. The eyes of the venerable ones lit up. Meanwhile, when the Daoists and sky prides at the scene saw their seniors looking at Chu Kuangren with admiration, a sense of dissatisfaction rose in their hearts. However, when he thought about the other party's strength, he calmed down. In the Royal Azure Dynasty's camp, when Crown Prince Guchanga saw Chu Kuangren once again, his Daoist core trembled violently, and a stunning sword ray appeared in his mind. That was the sword attack that Chu Kuangren used to defeat him. He thought that he had already forgotten about it. But when he saw her again, he realized that he hadn't. He had just deliberately suppressed it in the depths of his heart and stopped thinking about it. Chu Kuangren. Gu Chang'e clenched her fists, the veins on her forehead bulging, and her eyes were filled with rage. It was all because of this person that his invincible heart was shattered. After returning to the palace, he spent countless treasures to recuperate and recover. "Brother, calm down," Princess Linglong said calmly. Gu Chang'e took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He looked at the secret realm of the luminous moon with a fanatical look in his eyes. He had to get his hands on this opportunity in the mystic realm. Only then would he have a chance to defeat Chu Kuangren. Not only him, but many other sky prides at the scene also had the same idea. They wanted to obtain the sage's opportunity of fortune and then surpass Chu Kuangren. Haha, how can the Yuxia tribe be absent from the sage's mysterious realm? Laughter could be heard coming from the clouds in the distance. An aura of supremacy filled the air. A scarlet-robed old man flew over. "It's him, Supreme Yixue from the Yuxia clan. I didn't expect him to come too." Everyone was slightly surprised. The Yuxia race was a race that was different from the human race. It was one of the top races in the firmament and could compete with the sage orthodoxies. They were also known as the Yuxia Saint clan. The blood-robed elder was a supreme expert of the Yuxia race. He had once dominated his peers and was one of the top geniuses. His name was Supreme Yixue. "Greetings, fellow Daoists. How have you been?" Supreme Yixue laughed at the crowd. Everyone greeted him politely, but they soon noticed the young man beside him. That young man was wearing the same blood-colored Daoist robe as Supreme Yixue. His face was devilishly handsome, and there was a drop of cinnabar between his brows that was circulating with Daoist rhymes. Who is this young man? Why haven't I heard of him before? An unfamiliar sky pride. Everyone was surprised and secretly observed. Spirit blood child, paradise realm cultivation base, hatched from the Daoist fetus nurtured in the blood sea of the Yuxia tribe. He possesses the supreme spirit blood Daoist physique. The information from the Eye of Revelation surprised Chu Kuangren quite a bit. Supreme Daoist physique. This spirit blood child was a supreme Daoist physique. Chu Kuangren had read about the spirit blood Daoist physique before. It was one of the top 30 physiques among the 3,000 physiques. According to ancient legends, there was once an emperor in the firmament star who possessed such a physique and dominated an era. That blood-robed young man is not simple. Elder Ruyan looked at the spirit blood child and reminded Chu Kuangren and the others. Chu Kuangren nodded. He possesses the spirit blood Daoist physique. What? Elder Ruyan's expression changed slightly. How did you know? I have a kind of sensory technique that allows me to sense it. There were indeed many similar techniques in the firmament star. Elder Ruyan did not think too much about it and quickly shifted her attention back to the spirit blood child. There are very few records about the spirit blood Daoist physique, so I didn't notice it earlier. Now that you've mentioned it, it does make sense. Elder Ruyan said solemnly. After being reminded by Chu Kuangren, Nangong Huang and the others kept their guard up. Every supreme Daoist physique was not to be underestimated. Boom, boom. At that moment, dark clouds surged in the distant sky, accompanied by thunder and lightning. A few gigantic falcons covered in silvery white feathers flew towards them, and wherever they went, thunder rumbled. Similarly, an honorable aura filled the air. Who is this? It's the Thunder Falcon tribe. Another sage tribe. Wait, if the Thunder Falcon tribe is here, then he should be here too. Many of the sky prides at the scene had a serious look on their faces. Chu Kuangren was a little surprised. They were all from sage orthodoxies, and there were so many of them here, but they did not seem to be so cautious. What was so special about the Thunder Falcon tribe? Since the Thunder Falcon tribe is here, then their young emperor should be here too, Nangong Huang murmured beside Chu Kuangren. At that moment he finally understood. The young emperor, the Thunder Falcon tribe had a young emperor. A few gigantic Thunder Falcons landed in front of the crowd, and with a flash of light, they transformed into human forms. Among them, There was a young man dressed in a long white robe who exuded a domineering lightning-based Daoist rhyme that caught everyone's attention. That person was the young emperor of the Thunder Falcon tribe, Leo. He was one of the 8 most outstanding sky prides in the firmament star. The secret realm of the luminous moon has really attracted a lot of people. All sorts of forces and sky prides are here. Hey, it's so lively here. Even if I can't enter the secret realm myself, it's still worth it to watch these sky prides compete with each other. Now that the young emperor is here, I wonder if Chu Kuangren can go against him. After all, he was once called the young emperor by some people. The crowd was very excited as they discussed among themselves. When Lei Ao arrived, he glanced at the sky prides and shouted, "Who's Chu Kuangren? Step forward." Swoosh, 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 everyone's gaze immediately fell on Chu Kuangren. It seems that you're Chu Kuangren. Some people say that you can be called a young emperor, but that's a joke. You better not bump into me in this secret realm, or else I'll let you know what a young emperor is. Lei Ao was extremely domineering, issuing a challenge the moment he arrived. Chu Kuangren smiled indifferently. How dare a feathered animal like you speak so arrogantly here? I really want to kill you and turn you into a roasted chicken. As soon as Chu Kuangren said that, the Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators who came were enraged. How dare you? How dare you disrespect the young emperor? You're asking for it. Chapter 53. That one word infuriated all the Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators. They glared at Chu Kuangren and unleashed their auras. Violent lightning-based Daoist rhymes filled the void as they charged towards Chu Kuangren. At that moment, Elder Ruyan snorted. Who dares to be so presumptuous? She took a step forward and unleashed an aura that was close to that of an honorable. The auras from both sides collided, causing the void to tremble. Chu Kuangren was standing right in front of that aura. If it were any other cultivator, they would have collapsed to the ground in fear. However, he stood where he was, calm and unruffled. The wind stirred up by the pressure brushed past his robes and his ink-black hair, adding to his frivolity. At that moment, he looked more like a mad immortal than a banished immortal. Countless female cultivators could not help but be tempted by him. How arrogant! I like it. He even dares to scold the young emperor. What an unrestrained man. Look at that young emperor. He's far less handsome than Brother Chu, and he was the one who provoked him first. He deserves to be scolded. That's right. Since he was provoked, of course he should scold him back. I'm afraid the young emperor will not let this go. Countless female cultivators secretly supported Chu Kuangren. However, they were also worried about Chu Kuangren. After all, Lei Ao was a young emperor. That title represented the most terrifying strength among the younger generation. Seeing the tension between the Black Heaven sect and the Thunder Falcon tribe, the surrounding sage orthodoxies each had their own thoughts and did not stop them. In other words, they could not wait for the two sides to fight. That way, they might be able to reap the benefits. All right, all of you stop. At that moment, the Thunder Falcon tribe's honorable said. It was not that he was afraid of Elder Ruyan. On the contrary, Elder Ruyan was only a late-stage honorable and was no match for him. However, the matter of the secret realm was more important. Moreover, he could sense that there was a terrifying being hidden within the Black Heaven sect's camp. That being was probably much stronger than him. The Thunder Falcon tribe's cultivators snorted and retracted their auras. Lei Ao stared at Chu Kuangren before he let out a ferocious smile and made a throat-slitting gesture. I'll wait for you in the secret realm. Chu Kuangren curled his lips. I'm so scared. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others could not help but chuckle when they saw that. Everyone knew that Chu Kuangren did not take Lei Ao seriously at all. Not far away, the White Lotus Maiden Sage was sizing Chu Kuangren up with an unchanging smile on her face. However, there was a hint of curiosity in her eyes. Beside her, the White Lotus Saint clenched his fists. The flames of jealousy in his eyes were about to spew out. Most of the forces and orthodoxies had arrived. Next, everyone planned to explore the luminous moon-hidden realm. Those who were above the Battle Monarch realm were not allowed to enter. Those who were allowed to enter were naturally the geniuses of various sections. The seniors gave some instructions before allowing the geniuses to enter. Swoosh! A streak of blood-colored light turned into a streak of light and charged into the mystic realm first. It was Blood Spirit Child of the Wuxia clan. Fang Tian, Lin Badian, Guchanga and the rest followed closely behind. Kid, I can't enter this secret realm, so you must be careful. The seventh forefather's voice rang in Chu Kuangren's mind. Chu Kuangren nodded and led his people into the secret realm. The moment he entered the secret realm, Chu Kuangren suddenly felt a surge of spatial energy tugging at his body. Then, his eyes lit up as he arrived at the side of a lake. However, Lan Yu, Nangong Huang, and the others were nowhere to be seen. We've been separated by that spatial energy. Chu Kuangren frowned and spread his spiritual thoughts outwards. However, he could not find Lan Yu and the others within a 100-kilometer radius. With Lan Yu and the others' strength, they shouldn't have gotten into trouble so easily. Let's explore this place first, Chu Kuangren said after some thought. The luminous moon hidden realm was much larger than the Yuan Ling small realm that Chu Kuangren had been to previously. He could not see the end of it at all. Chu Kuangren walked around the secret realm for half a day but did not see any opportunities of fortune. Instead, he realized that the secret realm was extremely dilapidated. In this secret realm, the water was stagnant with no ripples. The trees were all dead and lifeless. Not even a bird or an ant could be seen. It was dead silence between the heavens and the earth. Some places were even filled with gray mist. I don't like this mist, said Yizichen. Chu Kuangren frowned as he looked at the gray mist in front of him. He could feel that the aura was filled with a decaying qi of death. At that moment, a shrill scream was heard from afar. Chu Kuangren's mind moved and he dashed towards the source of the scream. In a mountain range, more than 10 fully armored soldiers were besieging a strange beast that had black fur all over its body. The beast looked a little like a dog. Its eyes were scarlet red and it exuded a terrifying ferocious qi that sent chills down people's spines. The surrounding soldiers attacked the beast, but the beast's body was impenetrable. Their attacks were futile. On the contrary, the beast's sharp teeth and claws could easily tear through the soldiers' armor and inflict heavy damage on them. Out of my way! Chu Kuangren took a step forward and arrived in front of the crowd. With the Kunwu sacred sword in hand, he slashed out fiercely. An incomparably sharp sword qi whizzed out and easily cut the demonic beast in half. It's Chu Kuangren. We're saved. That's great. As expected of a supreme sky pride, he killed this monster with a single slash. The surrounding soldiers felt like they had just survived a disaster. There was only one type of soldier that entered the luminous moon's secret realm, and that was the Royal Azure Dynasty's Imperial Guards that followed Princess Linglong and Guchanga here. Chu Kuangren ignored the Imperial Guards and was instead looking at the beast that he had just killed. The beast had the same aura as the gray mist. It was also rotten and filled with the aura of death. This aura, what is it? Chu Kuangren murmured. It's the aura of death. At that moment, a female voice was heard. A woman in a luxurious robe walked over from afar. The surrounding soldiers immediately bowed and greeted her. Greetings, Princess. It was Princess Linglong. Although he was a little surprised, Chu Kuangren was more curious about the aura of death that she mentioned. Princess Linglong continued, this aura of death is very ancient. It can even be traced back to the body of an emperor in the ancient times. It has appeared a few times in the recent past when there were no emperors. This aura of death is very terrifying. It contains the will of death, and any beast that is infected by it will lose its mind. Black fur will also grow on its body. The ancient records call it the Black Death Beast. After Chu Kuangren heard that, he pondered. First of all, why would there be an aura of death in the luminous moon's secret realm? The fall of the luminous moon sage is undeniable. According to the ancient records, when the luminous moon sage fell, red rain fell from the sky for a day. There was even the appearance of a heavenly dog eating the moon, causing the heavens and earth to mourn. But why would there be an aura of death in his secret realm? This is indeed puzzling. Princess Linglong also fell into deep thought. There's no point in thinking too much. Let's continue exploring, Chu Kuangren said. All right. Princess Linglong nodded. There were too many uncertainties in this strange luminous moon's secret realm. Having one more person meant more strength. At that moment, the two of them had a tacit understanding to travel together. Look over there. At that moment, a soldier cried out in surprise. Not far away, a saber was stabbed into a mountain peak. The saber was engraved with countless mysterious runes, and there was even a picture of a bright moon. The saber was stabbed into the mountain peak, emanating waves of sacred qi. Perhaps it was because of the sacred qi, the mountain peak was lush and green, unlike other places that were in ruins. Chapter 54. Sacred Artifact, Bright Moon Blade. Not only that, the bright moon saber still has some sage qi left on it. This means that there are still sage Daoist rhymes left on it. If I can comprehend it, I will benefit a lot. Not bad. Every sage orthodoxy had a few sage artifacts. However, there were very few sage artifacts that still had sage Daoist rhymes. The bright moon saber in front of them was extremely extraordinary, and its value far exceeded that of ordinary sage artifacts. But why would the bright moon saber be stuck here? Princess Linglong was puzzled. She glanced around and saw a huge crack at the foot of the mountain. There were also broken mountains along the way, and there were more or less remnants of saber qi on these marks. It was as if the bright moon saber had flown over, and the saber qi had left a mark on it. Only when its power was exhausted did it stab into the mountain. Could it be that the luminous moon saint was fighting with someone? Then, the bright moon saber was sent flying. Thinking of this, Princess Linglong was shocked. But no matter what, with the saint artifact before him, how could he sit back and do nothing? Chu Kuangren and Princess Linglong looked at each other and immediately attacked. None of them wanted to give it up. I want this saint artifact. How women you change so fast. Let's talk about it after you get it. Chu Kuangren chuckled. His speed was not slow at all. At this moment, a silvery white thunderbolt erupted not far away. It was wrapped in a monstrous Daoist rhyme, and it blasted towards the two of them at an extremely fast speed. Princess Linglong's expression changed, and she quickly retreated. However, Chu Kuangren did not retreat nor evade. Instead, he swung the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, and the dazzling purple sword ray instantly destroyed the lightning. Not only that, but the sword light also slashed straight at the mountain range that erupted with thunderbolts, directly slashing several mountains into pieces. Princess Linglong could not help but shudder at the terrifying power. What a powerful sword! He didn't even use his full strength at the birthday banquet that day. Princess Linglong's heart was filled with fear. Initially, she thought that even if her strength was not as good as Chu Kuangren's, the difference would not be too big. Now, it seemed like she had been overthinking things. They weren't even on the same level. The mountain exploded, and a figure rushed out. He was dressed in a white robe, and his body was surrounded by fine lightning. A domineering aura filled the heavens and earth. It was the young emperor of the Thunder Falcon tribe, Lei Ao. I didn't expect to see you again so soon, bastard. Chu Kuangren smiled faintly and reached out to pull out the full moon blade from the mountain peak. Then, he threw it into his yin and yang ring right in front of Lei Ao. Lei Ao stared at Chu Kuangren as he recalled the power of his opponent's sword ray. He grinned. Very well, it seems that you do have some strength. You're qualified to die in my hands. Where did you get the illusion that you can kill me? Chu Kuangren sneered as sword-based Daoist rhymes emanated from his body. Lei Ao wasn't afraid to fight either. He pushed the Thunder Daoist rhyme on his body to the extreme. Dark clouds gathered above his head and thunder rumbled. The power of a phenomenon erupted. Look at the phenomenon of my Daoist body, thunder and lightning. Lei Ao roared. Lightning surrounded his body like a god that controlled thunder and lightning. The majestic pressure of thunder swept in all directions. The might of a young emperor shocked Princess Linglong and the group of soldiers. Isn't it just a phenomenon? You're making it sound like nobody has any. Chu Kuangren's sword-based Daoist rhyme spread, and the sword of the heavens formed above his head while a 36th tier sword Qi green lotus surrounded his feet. The power of the two great transformations erupted. The terrifying power of the transformations collided high up in the sky. The surrounding mountains and rivers shook violently. It was extremely terrifying. Many sky prides who were exploring the secret realm were attracted by it. On an altar surrounded by gray mist, a figure that was bound by countless runic chains suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at the source of the transformations and laughed maniacally. Thunder Daoist physique, exquisite nine-heaven sword heart, these are the best supplements. As long as I can absorb them, I'll be able to recover 1/10,000th of my power and break out of the seal. My efforts, my Holy Spirit's power, my repair of the secret realm, and the addition of the restrictions have not been in vain. Luminous Moon Sage, you can't suppress me anymore. As the transformations collided, Chu Kuangren battled against young Emperor Lei Ao. Chu Kuangren had a supreme Daoist physique. Even if his current cultivation level was only at the nascent soul realm, with the addition of his 3 supreme foundation levels, his transformations were still stronger than Lei Ao's. There was no need for all 3 transformations. Just 2 transformations were enough to suppress Lei Ao's thunder and lightning transformation. A supreme Daoist physique is indeed not to be underestimated. Lei Ao said coldly. Then he clenched his fist and terrifying lightning leaped between his fingers. With a punch, a bolt of silver lightning exploded. This lightning was even more powerful than before with the help of the transformations. Unfortunately, it was useless. With a wave of the Descendant Self-Sword, the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique erupted. The violent purple sword rays split the lightning with an unstoppable force. The lightning. This sword ray, the silver lightning, is not enough to handle it. Then have a taste of this, the black water falling lightning. The silver lightning around Lei Ao's body was gradually dyed with a layer of ink. The incomparably black lightning made it even more domineering. With a punch, the black lightning blocked the sword ray. Then, he waved both his fists and the black lightning intertwined to form a horrifying net that covered half of the sky and fell towards Chu Kuangren. Useless move. Chu Kuangren waved his sword and a violent sword ray poured out. It was an extremely domineering and offensive sword attack. The sword ray tore the black net apart and landed on Lei Ao's body, forcing him to retreat hundreds of feet and crash into a mountain peak. The crowd of sky prides who had just arrived saw this scene. They were instantly stunned. A young emperor was sent flying with a single slash. *CK me. I'll fight whoever dares to tell me that Chu Kuangren is not worthy of being called a young emperor. With this kind of strength, he definitely deserves to be called a young emperor. He's too strong. I'm afraid that sword attack has the power of a battle monarch. Terrifying, truly terrifying. Chu Kuangren's black hair danced in the wind. With the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand, he was in high spirits and shocked the crowd of sky prides. What's wrong? Didn't you say you want to kill me? How are you going to fight me with this little bit of strength? Chu Kuangren said indifferently. A pile of rubble exploded and Lei Ao rushed out from it. He stared at Chu Kuangren with uncontrollable anger. Crackle. The power of black lightning surrounded Lei Ao. It was extremely dense and every strand of it had the power to crush mountains and rivers. The lightning gradually condensed into a pair of black lightning wings on his back, which were engraved with a large number of mysterious runes. With a flap of the lightning wings, terrifying lightning energy swept in all directions. Wherever it touched, the ground would explode and dust would fly. Sage technique, wings of black lightning. Chu Kuangren, I'll show you my true strength. Lei Ao flapped his wings and his whole body seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he was in front of Chu Kuangren. He waved his fists and countless lightning bolts were sent towards Chu Kuangren. Most of the lightning bolts were blocked by Chu Kuangren, but some of them still managed to enter his body and destroy it. After a series of violent attacks, Lei Ao had vented most of his anger. He then retreated and looked at Chu Kuangren with a sinister smile. Even a battle monarch would undoubtedly die from this round of attacks. Chu Kuangren, your body has been corroded by the black lightning. This black lightning will slowly destroy your internal organs, flesh, and blood. Will it? Why don't I feel anything? At that moment, Chu Kuangren smiled and raised his sword. Chapter 55. The sword ray was still as domineering and unparalleled as ever. Lei Ao's pupils shrank. The black lightning wings on his back flapped and terrifying lightning surged out, blocking the sword ray. He could not believe it. Why was his opponent still so strong? How could his strength not affect Chu Kuangren? What the hell is going on? No matter how hard Lei Ao thought about it, he could not figure out that there was a physique above the supreme Daoist physique called the immortal body. Indeed, Lei Ao's attack was effective on Chu Kuangren. Some of the lightning energy entered his body and caused him some damage. However, the damage was healed by the immortal body in the blink of an eye. Should I say, as expected of a young emperor? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. Ever since he left the mountain, no one had been able to hurt him, not even the battle monarch from the White Cloud City residence. He did not expect Lei Ao to do it. As far as beasts are concerned, you're not bad. Unfortunately, beasts will always be beasts. Chu Kuangren channeled the spiritual power in his body and activated the golden jade body. Sword-based Daoist rhymes surged. Just as he was about to fight Lei Ao again, a gray mist suddenly surged from afar. What's this? Why is there so much mist? The mist surged and everyone quickly retreated. Although they did not know what it was, the sky prides were not willing to touch it. However, countless tentacles suddenly extended from the gray mist and quickly wrapped around a few sky prides, dragging them in. This change made everyone's expression change. What the hell is this? Let's go! The sky prides frantically ran in the opposite direction of the gray mist. Chu Kuangren and Lei Ao also stopped fighting and planned to leave first. However, Chu Kuangren suddenly saw a few people trapped by the tentacles in front of the gray mist, unable to escape. It's Nan Gonghuang and the others. Chu Kuangren frowned. Without hesitation, he appeared in front of them in a flash and slashed with the sacred sword in his hand. The sword ray swept across the sky and cut off all the tentacles. Elder Senior Brother. Great, it's Elder Senior Brother. Nan Gonghuang and the others were delighted. Chu Kuangren said with a serious expression, "Let's go." Elder Senior Brother, Lan Yu was pulled in just now, Nan Gonghuang suddenly said, causing Chu Kuangren's expression to change drastically. Damn it. The existence within the gray mist was strange and inexplicable. It was unknown whether Lan Yu was dead or alive after being pulled into it. Chu Kuangren's heart was filled with anxiety, but his eyes were extremely cold. You guys can leave first, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Eldest Senior Brother, do you want to? Morong Xian's expression changed. He wanted to dissuade Chu Kuangren, but Chu Kuangren seemed to have guessed what they were going to say. He shouted coldly, "Leave. Go. Don't drag eldest Senior Brother down here." Nan Gonghuang gritted his teeth and said. Everyone glanced at Chu Kuangren before they left. Since I have the immortal body, I'd like to see what kind of strange existence lies within this gray mist. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath. Then, his gaze became extremely determined as he dashed into the gray mist in a flash. From afar, Lei Ao saw this scene and snorted coldly. He actually dared to charge into the deathly aura alone. He is simply seeking his own death. In the gray fog, a figure rushed in. It was Chu Kuangren. As soon as he entered, he suddenly felt a strange force being exerted on his body. Under this force, his body felt as if it was placed in a strong acid. His flesh and blood were constantly being corroded and decomposed. The immortal body began to work and quickly repaired his body. Chu Kuangren also activated his spiritual power and covered the surface of his body with a layer of spiritual power, using it to resist this strange corrosive force. This gray mist can corrode living beings. I can't stay here for long. I must quickly find Lan Yu, Chu Kuangren thought to himself. With Lan Yu's strength, She could even survive in this gray mist for a period of time, but it was only for a short period of time. Spreading his spiritual thought, Chu Kuangren continuously searched for traces of Lan Yu. Suddenly, his spiritual thought touched a barrier and was bounced back. His eyes narrowed, and he raised his hand and slashed out with his sword. The domineering purple sword ray landed on the barrier and exploded with a loud bang. However, Chu Kuangren sensed that the barrier was undamaged. There's a barrier here. Could it be that it's deliberately trapping us in the gray mist? Chu Kuangren thought to himself. At that moment, the sound of fighting and strange roars could be heard from afar. Chu Kuangren dashed towards the source of the sound and saw a few beasts with strange tentacles surrounding a woman. It's her, Princess Linglong. Chu Kuangren was shocked. He did not expect her to be dragged into this strange gray mist. Those tentacle beasts were terrifying. Each of them had the cultivation level of a battle monarch. Princess Linglong could not fight them and could only dodge in panic. Chu Kuangren, save me. Princess Linglong was overjoyed when she saw Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren, however, turned around and left without hesitation. What a joke, he still wanted to find Lan Yu. The longer he stayed in this place, the more danger Lan Yu would be in. Compared to Lan Yu, Princess Linglong was worthless to him. Seeing Chu Kuangren turn around and leave, Princess Linglong panicked and shouted again, I know what's going on with this gray mist, save me. Hearing that, Chu Kuangren stopped in his tracks. He did not know how big this gray mist was, so it would not be efficient to search for Lan Yu aimlessly. If he could figure out the source of this gray mist, it might be of help to him. Thinking of this, Chu Kuangren did not hesitate and attacked. With a slash of the sacred sword, a domineering purple sword ray whizzed out, and in the blink of an eye, a tentacle of a beast was cut off. A shrill cry like that of a baby came out from the mouth of the strange beast. Then, the beast locked onto Chu Kuangren, its scarlet eyes filled with cruelty. Countless tentacles danced towards Chu Kuangren. Is this the existence hidden in this gray mist? Its cultivation level is not low. Chu Kuangren activated his Eye of Revelation. Streams of information flashed past his eyes at a crazy rate. This beast was also a Black Death beast. Mutated Black Death beast, peak battle monarch realm cultivation level, formed from the Black Light Sage's death chi, specially used to capture living beings for him. Black Light Sage? Who was this? Chu Kuangren caught the key information and temporarily suppressed his doubts. He said to Princess Linglong, retreat behind me. Princess Linglong did not suspect anything and quickly hid behind Chu Kuangren. I can't be bothered to play with you guys. Chu Kuangren took out a jade bottle from his yin and yang ring and smashed it. A formless dust spread out, and Chu Kuangren used his spiritual power to wrap the dust and hit the surrounding Black Death beasts. When the dust came into contact with the Black Death beasts, they instantly let out an incomparably shrill scream as their bodies began to melt into a puddle of blood. After 2 to 3 breaths, the Black Death beasts had all turned into a puddle of blood mixed with their internal organs, emitting a disgusting stench. Princess Linglong's heart trembled. Try Dark Cleansing Ruler's Dust. She had read about this item in the ancient records, but she had never seen it with her own eyes. This terrifying power made her heart palpitate. These were all peak battle monarch realm Black Death beasts, yet they turned into puddles of blood in such a short time. Chapter 56. Don't worry, I'm not lying to you. Princess Linglong's heart skipped a beat when she saw Chu Kuangren's cold stare. She was one of the most talented women in the world, and she was also the princess of the royal Azure dynasty. How could Chu Kuangren be so easily defeated? Princess Linglong could not figure it out. She continued, this gray mist is special. It's formed by the condensation of the Qi of Death, and there's a barrier around it. I've seen this in the records of the Qi of Death. I'm afraid this is a domain. Go on. According to the records, over 10,000 years ago, this gray fog appeared once. At that time, the gray fog enveloped an entire city. Later on, someone went to investigate and found that there were only a few survivors left in the city. The rest had all been corroded and decomposed. Princess Linglong did not continue after that. Chu Kuangren frowned. That's it? That's all the records say. Domain. The Battle Monarch Realm cultivators can create their own domains, and some cultivators have specialized techniques to cultivate their domains. As their cultivation level increases, their domains will also change. Could this gray mist be a man-made domain? Chu Kuangren pondered and combined the information he received from the Eye of Revelation. His gaze gradually became extremely cold. Black Light Sage. The Black Death Beast was raised by the Black Light Sage, and this domain is most likely man-made. Perhaps he's the one behind all this. But he's a sage. If he really wanted to kill us, he could just kill us with a finger. Why would he go through all this trouble? The domain, the Black Death Beast, and even this mystic realm was created by him. This means he has some kind of limitation. Chu Kuangren's mind was filled with all sorts of thoughts. No matter what, the Black Light Sage was the source of all problems. To solve this gray mist, he had to be found first. I'll look for Lan Yu while looking for this person. If this domain is really made by him, then he must be inside it too. Chu Kuangren had an idea and left the place. Princess Linglong followed. She had to admit that being by Chu Kuangren's side gave her the most sense of security at times like this. Along the way, the two met another sky pride. It was Huayun from the sacred lands of serene wisdom. However, it was obvious that he was severely injured at this time, and there was not much spiritual power left in him. Without the protection of spiritual power, his body was rapidly being corroded and decomposed. When he saw Chu Kuangren and his companion, he immediately called for help. Brother Chu, Princess, please save me. Princess Linglong glanced at Chu Kuangren. It was obvious that Chu Kuangren was her priority now. Chu Kuangren turned a deaf ear as he watched Huayun being corroded and decomposed. Suddenly, an idea popped into his mind. The gray fog was corroding and decomposing human flesh. What would happen after the corrosion? This Blacklight Sage had gone through so much trouble to bring them into this domain. Was it purely to kill them? At that thought, Chu Kuangren continued to observe Huayun. His gaze was as cold as ice, and he had no intention of helping him. Huayun's heart shook and he quickly said, Brother Chu, what happened at the banquet was my fault. Please save me. However, Chu Kuangren continued to ignore him. Princess Linglong, quick, save me. Seeing that Chu Kuangren was unmoved, Huayun turned his attention to Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong was a little hesitant. Chu Kuangren, one more person means one more force in this place. Why don't, shut up. Chu Kuangren glared at Princess Linglong. Princess Linglong felt as if she was being strangled, choking on her words. One more person means one more force? What a joke. Someone like him is considered a force? He's just a burden. Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Chu Kuangren, you're so cruel. Seeing that there was no hope of saving him, Huayun's eyes were filled with hatred. Just because I mocked you at the banquet, you're going to leave me in the lurch. You're not worthy of being called a sky pride. You're not worthy of being called a human. I curse you to suffer the same fate as me, to die a horrible death. Huayun cursed hoarsely. However, Chu Kuangren's gaze did not change at all. Huayun's curses did not affect Chu Kuangren at all. He just quietly watched as Huayun disintegrated into nothingness. Beside him, Princess Linglong could not help but shiver. At the moment when Huayun was completely corroded, a blood-colored ray of light appeared and dashed towards a certain direction. Something's up. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he followed closely behind the blood-colored ray of light. Princess Linglong followed suit as well. At that moment, she finally understood why Chu Kuangren would coldly watch Huayun disintegrate. She could not help but sigh in her heart. However, to coldly watch a person disintegrate just to prove his hypothesis. This man was indeed cold-hearted. Chu Kuangren followed the blood-colored ray of light and arrived at the depths of the gray mist. From afar, they could see an altar with an old man bound by runic chains on it. The blood-colored ray of light came to the altar and entered the old man's mouth and nose. Comfortable? This is the taste of a sky pride. The old man's face was filled with joy. Princess Linglong, who was following closely behind, was shocked when she saw this. This old man is feeding on sky prides. Chu Kuangren took out the descendant self-sword and walked towards the old man. At the same time, a large number of runes circulated in his eyes as he analyzed the old man's information. Black Light Sage, one of the protectors of the sacred palace of death. His cultivation level is at the peak of the Great Sage realm. He's currently in an incomplete state, and he's cultivating a sage technique. His opponent was a sage. With Chu Kuangren's current cultivation level, he could not see through him as clearly as he could with the Eye of Revelation. However, he did obtain a lot of useful information. For example, the Sacred Palace of Death. It was an unfamiliar force. Chu Kuangren made a mental note of it. Bang, bang. At that moment, a few runic chains on the altar shattered, absorbing the essence of a sky pride's flesh and blood to break through the seal. Your sage technique, gluttonous devouring technique, is quite extraordinary, Chu Kuangren said calmly. On the altar, the Black Light Sage's eyes narrowed. Little fella, who are you? How do you know my technique? However, Chu Kuangren suddenly made his move the moment he spoke. The heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique was instantly activated. The domineering purple sword ray swept towards the Black Light Sage's head. His eyes narrowed as he let out a long roar. A horrifying aura of death gushed out from his mouth and forcefully blocked the purple sword ray. What a decisive sky pride. First, you revealed my technique and attacked me while I was distracted. If you were a little stronger, or if I was a little weaker, you might have succeeded. What a shame, what a shame. The Black Light Sage laughed with a look of admiration in his eyes. Without saying a word, Chu Kuangren activated his 3 Daoist physique transformations and once again performed the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique, intending to kill the Black Light Sage in one fell swoop. However, a terrifying surge of sage Daoist rhyme burst out from the Black Light Sage's body, forming a chi barrier that blocked all the attacks. A sage is a sage. Even if he's broken and sealed, he's still not that easy to kill, Chu Kuangren murmured. Chapter 57. Human Mountain Stamp. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. Within the gray mist, horrifying explosions continued to resound. Chu Kuangren continued to attack, intending to kill the Black Light Sage. However, it was not that easy to kill a sage. The sage had formed a chi barrier around him, and no matter how Chu Kuangren attacked, it was futile. Moreover, this was the sage's incomplete power. It might not even be 1 in 10,000. One could only imagine how terrifying the sage was at his peak. Little brat, what you're doing is useless. Your strength is still too weak. You can't even touch me, let alone kill me. Just find a place and wait for your death. You have a supreme Daoist physique, so your flesh and blood essence is a great supplement to me. The Black Light Sage stared at Chu Kuangren with a strong desire. It was like a hungry ghost looking at a banquet. Chu Kuangren stopped his attack and said coldly, "You're the one who reappeared the luminous moon's secret realm? It's all for the sake of luring us here and turning us into your food to recover our strength and break the seal." That's right, but it's too late now. Within my domain, none of you can escape, and you can't kill me. The Black Light Sage smiled proudly. At that moment, another blood-colored ray of light came from afar and entered the Black Light Sage's body. His aura grew stronger by several notches. The taste of a sky pride is wonderful. The Black Light Sage had a joyful expression on his face. I've spent a lot of time to add restrictions to this luminous moon's secret realm, only allowing cultivators below the Battle Monarch realm to enter. This is a sage's secret realm, so the orthodoxies outside will definitely not let their sky prides enter. Little do they know, they're just sending me food. At this moment, no one can save you in this secret realm. Once my strength recovers, I'll expand my domain. By then, none of the sky prides in this secret realm will be able to escape. The Black Light Sage laughed out loud, his eyes filled with pride. He was not worried that revealing his plan would fail. He had planned for so long, and now that everything was under his control, so what if he revealed everything? No one could do anything to him. Luminous Moon Sage, I came to invite you to join the Sage Palace out of kindness, but you didn't appreciate it and even tried to suppress me. Now, even though I'm sealed, you've died from my injuries. Now, I'm about to break the seal. I've won. The Black Light Sage laughed heartily. After 10,000 years, the battle between him and the Luminous Moon Sage was finally coming to an end. Chu Kuangren retracted his transformation and left. He's leaving just like that? Princess Linglong was puzzled. Not leaving? Do you want me to stay here and listen to him show off? Chu Kuangren said coldly and left without looking back. Where do you think you can go? In my domain, aside from waiting for your deaths, where else can you go? Looking at Chu Kuangren and his companion's departing silhouette, the Black Light Sage said in disdain. After leaving the sealed area, Chu Kuangren found a cave within the gray mist. He walked in and took out a large pile of treasures. These were all obtained from Yuan Ling's treasury. Every single item was worth a fortune. What are you going to do? Princess Linglong asked, puzzled. Seclusion, breakthrough, and then kill a sage. Chu Kuangren said coldly. However, there was a rare sense of urgency in his eyes. Princess Linglong understood his urgency. If you go into seclusion, no matter how talented you are, it will take a few days. In these few days, the sky prides that entered the gray mist will all be dead. The sage's strength will increase again. At that time, even if you break through to the insightful void realm, will you still be able to deal with him? Princess Linglong was met with silence after she finished speaking. Indeed. Chu Kuangren knew what she said made sense. Moreover, Lan Yu's life was uncertain now. Whether he could calm down and go into seclusion was also unknown. I have an idea. Princess Linglong suddenly said. What idea? Godly essence. Say that again? Chu Kuangren was stunned. I'll give you the godly essence. You can use its power to break through in a short period of time. Princess Linglong said indifferently, as if she was not talking about her innocence. Are you serious? Chu Kuangren's gaze froze. What do you think? Princess Linglong took a deep breath and slowly took off her robe, revealing her snow-white body. One had to admit that Princess Linglong was very beautiful. Her figure was also extremely good. Chu Kuangren looked at her and was momentarily dazed, but he quickly looked away. I don't need this kind of method to break through. Princess Linglong saw his dazed look. Even if it was only for a moment, she did not know why, but she was a little excited. It turned out that she was not completely unattracted to him. You have no other choice. Princess Linglong slowly walked up and hugged Chu Kuangren, whispering into his ear. Then, without waiting for Chu Kuangren to make a move, she took the initiative to undress him. Those who did not know would think that Chu Kuangren was the one at a disadvantage. Chu Kuangren, don't tell me you can't do it? Princess Linglong saw that Chu Kuangren was frozen on the spot and could not help but say, You forced me to do this. At that point, Chu Kuangren also made his move. He turned the tables and pressed Princess Linglong onto the ground. In an instant, the cave was filled with life. Not long after, mysterious Daoist patterns flowed between the two of them, forming a white ball of light that enveloped both of them. The ball of light moved up and down, and a faint sorrowful sound could be heard. Chu Kuangren felt like he was wrapped in a hot spring. A mysterious Daoist rhyme surged into his heart, and an incomparably pure energy entered his body. It exploded in his spiritual mound and swept through his limbs and bones. The Daoist foundation, golden core, and nascent soul within his body were all excited. A large amount of spiritual power gathered in his spiritual mound and gradually turned into 9 purple pillars with mysterious Daoist runes engraved on them. With the 9 spiritual pillars as the foundation, a gorgeous Daoist palace gradually formed. This was the Purple Palace Realm. The Purple Palace Realm foundation represented the Paradise Realm. The 9 spiritual pillars represented the supreme 9th grade Purple Palace Realm. Just when Chu Kuangren successfully formed the 9th grade Purple Palace Realm, a terrifying phenomenon appeared in the outside world. Daoist rhymes reverberated between heaven and earth, spiritual qi surged, and a purple light bloomed in the gray mist. an incomparably glorious purple palace realm appeared. The sealed black light sage noticed it immediately, and his expression suddenly changed. Supreme Foundation, 9th Grade Purple Palace Realm. The higher the Supreme Foundation realm, the harder it was to form. A 9-colored nascent soul was already rare in the world. A 9th Grade Purple Palace realm was also rare in the past 100,000 years. Who is it? Who could have formed such a foundation realm? Could it be? The Blacklight Sage thought of Chu Kuangren. In the entire domain, only Chu Kuangren was a complete nascent soul cultivator, and only he could form such a supreme foundation realm. But to break through the Paradise realm and form the Supreme Purple Palace realm in such a short period of time, how did he do it? The Blacklight Sage's expression was terrifyingly gloomy. There was a variable in his plan. Chapter 58. A peerless 9th grade violet palace formed, and a strange phenomenon appeared in heaven and earth. The sound of the Tao reverberated, and the Tao rhymes spread in all directions. Even the Blacklight Sage's domain could not isolate this surge of Daoist rhyme. After all, he was currently in an incomplete state. Daoist rhymes filled the air, affecting the entire mystic realm. Many geniuses noticed it. They all looked at the gray fog and saw a faint purple light flowing in it. A towering and somewhat illusory Taoist palace appeared. The Daoist palace was incomparably gorgeous, and it contained 9 spiritual pillars. When the crowd saw this, they thought of something. That's the Violet Palace? Hiss, 9 spirit pillars. It was a 9th grade Violet Palace. How is this possible? There's actually someone who can condense such a foundation. Who is it that can do such a thing in the gray fog? Wait a minute. Rumor has it that eldest brother Dark Heaven once formed 3 supreme foundations all by himself. Could it be him? If that's true, then it's terrifying. On a certain mountain peak, Lei Ao stared at the direction of the gray mist with a grave expression. 9th grade Purple Palace Realm. Who is that? Could it really be that Chu Kuangren? Thinking of this, Lei Ao's heart sank. Even before Chu Kuangren attained the Paradise Realm, he had already exerted a tremendous amount of pressure on him. If Chu Kuangren were to attain the Paradise Realm and condense the 9th grade Purple Palace, Lei Ao did not dare to think any further. Now, he could only hope that the being in the gray mist could kill Chu Kuangren. That way, he would not have another opponent like Chu Kuangren. In another place, Gu Chang'e stared at the gray fog. It's him, it must be him. There aren't many nascent soul realm cultivators that entered the secret territory. He is definitely the most outstanding one. If anyone can condense a 9th rank purple mansion, it must be him. It's not enough for this guy to condense 3 supreme foundations in a row. Now he's also condensing a supreme violet palace. Heavenly Tao, you're unfair. Gu Chang'e had a feeling that Chu Kuangren would be the one to condense the 9th grade Supreme Purple Palace. This made him so angry that he could barely breathe. Previously, his 3 supreme foundations were already enough to crush him. What about now? He was probably nothing in front of the other party. A 9th grade Violet Palace Realm. It must be eldest senior brother. Apart from eldest senior brother, who else has this kind of ability? He was different from Lei Ao, Gu Chang'e and the rest. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the rest were filled with excitement. Supreme Daoist Foundation, Supreme Golden Core, Supreme Nascent Soul, and now Supreme Violet Kingdom. Eldest senior brother is mighty. This era only has one name, and that name is Chu Kuangren. Within the domain of gray fog, Chu Kuangren used the godly essence to condense a 9th grade purple palace, but that was not all. The effects of the godly essence allowed him and Princess Linglong to enter a state of Daoist enlightenment, to comprehend the mysterious Daoist Tao. Everything he had learned in the past was now organized. The human mountain stamp, ultimate heaven-slaying sword drawing technique, heavenly purple myrtle sword art, and other techniques were carefully sorted out in the state of enlightenment. Find the loopholes and fill in the gaps. This was especially true for the heavenly amethyst sword art. Chu Kuangren had forcefully elevated this sage technique to the level of a great sage technique. All sorts of profound mysteries were indescribably wonderful. Apart from that, their cultivation levels were also increasing rapidly. Insightful void early stage, insightful void middle stage, insightful void late stage. Suddenly, Chu Kuangren opened his eyes. Inside the cave, the white orb of light shattered. Chu Kuangren stood up naked, took out a white Daoist robe, and put it on. "Wait here, I'm going to slay a sage," Chu Kuangren said calmly. Princess Linglong stretched her body and nodded with a blushing face. Swoosh, Chu Kuangren disappeared from where he was, and when he reappeared, he was already at the altar. A terrifying surge of sword-based Daoist rhyme gushed out. The Blacklight Sage had long guessed that Chu Kuangren would come, so he was not surprised. He only said in surprise, "I can't believe you could break through to the Paradise Realm in such a short time and condense a supreme purple palace." Before he could finish his sentence, a sword ray greeted him. An unparalleled attack, dazzling purple sword ray. The Blacklight Sage opened his mouth and let out a roar, and a large amount of death chi gushed out. When the two forces collided, the horrifying shockwave shook the entire domain space. It was incomparably terrifying. The Sky Prides who were sucked into the gray fog domain were all shocked. What's going on? Don't tell me there's another unforeseen event. Amidst the gray fog, a silhouette in a gorgeous silver armor dashed towards the source of the shockwave. That person was Lan Yu. That 9th grade Purple Palace disciple just now must be Master. No, I need to get to Master's side as soon as possible. Lan Yu thought to himself. What a powerful sword ray. You've just broken through to the Paradise Realm, yet you can already unleash such combat strength. You're indeed extraordinary. Consuming one of you is equivalent to consuming dozens of Sky Prides. The Blacklight Sage looked at Chu Kuangren greedily. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, noticed that his opponent's strength was slightly stronger than before. It was obvious that he had consumed a few more Sky Prides. The runic chains on the altar had decreased by a few more. I must not let this person break out of the seal. Chu Kuangren focused his gaze and activated all 3 supreme Daoist physique transformations. The Sword of the Heavens, the 9 Heavens Sword Domain, and the Green Lotus Sword Song. With the 3 transformations surrounding him, Chu Kuangren's sword-based Daoist rhyme had reached its peak. Not only that, but the 4 supreme foundation levels within his body also radiated with a supreme divine light, and the surface of his body became crystal clear like golden jade. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Within his body, spiritual power surged like a tsunami. Just when Chu Kuangren was about to unleash his sword, a hint of surprise flashed across his eyes. Then, he swung the sacred sword down as if nothing had happened. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. The terrifying purple sword ray almost covered the entire sky. The sword ray landed and locked onto the Blacklight Sage. Under this attack, cracks finally appeared on the deathly chi barrier that surrounded the Blacklight Sage. Boom, boom. The cracks widened, and it finally exploded. The sword ray ruthlessly slashed onto the Blacklight Sage's physical body, but the old body suddenly burst into light and blocked the sword ray. Although my strength is less than 1/10,000th, this sage's body of mine is truly formed from the condensation of peerless Daoist patterns. Do you think your sword can hurt me? The Blacklight Sage laughed. This was why he was so fearless. How could an ordinary cultivator destroy a sage's body? I still have a saber here, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. Then, a long saber appeared in his hand and he threw it out. The long saber was as fast as a meteor, piercing through the void. That's the full moon saber. Not good. The Blacklight Sage's pupils shrank, and his expression changed drastically. Just when he was about to do something, Chu Kuangren was one step ahead of him. Majestic earth chi emerged and turned into a godly mountain. Under the pressure of the godly mountain, the Blacklight Sage's movements were a step slower. The full moon saber let out a dazzling brilliance, and in a trance, a white-robed figure holding a saber appeared. It was a handsome middle-aged man. The Blacklight Sage looked as if he had seen a ghost when he saw this man. Luminous Moon Sage. How is this possible? Everything happened in a split second. The luminous moon sage wielded the full moon saber and unleashed his sage Daoist rhymes, tearing apart the black light sage's body and decapitating him. At that moment, an illusory figure separated from the black light sage's body and dashed away in a frenzy. Chapter 59. Trying to escape? No way. Chu Kuangren had long prepared for the black light sage's sage spirit to escape. Activating the 9 heaven sword prison, the 12 sword chi pillars sealed the sky and ground. Without a sage's body, the sage spirit was like a rootless duckweed. Moreover, the black light sage had spent a lot of his sage power to repair the secret realm and add more restrictions. His sage spirit was even more exhausted than his cultivation base. There was no way out of the 9 heaven sword prison. Die. It was a pity that he could not capture a sage spirit. However, Chu Kuangren could not care less. Activating the descendant self sword, a terrifying sword ray shot out and locked onto the sage spirit. Amidst a mournful scream, the sacred spirit was annihilated. A sage had fallen. At that moment, the entire secret realm shook violently. The gray mist domain lost its master and began to collapse. Between the heavens and the earth, a torrential rain fell, and countless beasts and birds let out shrill cries of grief. A sage had fallen, the sky was raining red, and all creatures were crying in grief. Outside the secret realm, the sky rumbled, and a rain of red rain fell. The northern sea water roared and the wind howled. Whether it was beasts or birds, as long as they were not sentient, they all let out cries of grief. The sudden phenomenon shocked everyone. This is a phenomenon that only occurs when a sage has fallen. Who is it that has fallen? Oh my God, it's been a long time since I've seen a sage fall. What's going on? Why would a sage suddenly fall? Could it be that one of the sages has reached the end of their lifespan? Elder Ruyin, the Thunder Falcon tribe, and the other orthodoxies honorables were all shocked. They contacted their orthodoxies and asked about something. After a series of questions, everyone was confused. They didn't receive any grievous news, so who was the cause of this red rain and the mournful wailing of thousands of spirits? Could something have happened to the secret realm? Impossible. According to the records, the luminous moon sage has fallen long ago. Unless there's a second sage in this secret realm. Is that possible? Everyone was confused. Meanwhile, inside the luminous moon's secret realm, the gray mist domain collapsed, and everyone saw Chu Kuangren standing proudly in the air with the luminous moon sage beside him. Some people recognized the luminous moon sage. Look, that's the luminous moon sage. Isn't he dead? What the hell is going on? The saber in his hand is indeed the bright moon saber, the sacred weapon of the bright moon sage. However, he died 10,000 years ago. Why is Chu Kuangren there too? Everyone was surprised and bewildered. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren stared at the luminous moon sage with a hint of wariness in his eyes. He said, "Senior, can you give me an explanation?" Just now, when he was fighting with the Black Light Saint, the bright moon saber in his interspatial ring made a strange noise. The voice of the bright moon saint appeared, telling him to throw the saber at the Black Light Saint and prevent the Holy Spirit from escaping. The luminous moon sage smiled faintly. There is no need to be so wary of the future heaven's favorites. I am already dead. There is no doubt about it. What's in front of you now is just a remnant of my spirit. There's no need for you to do anything. It will dissipate on its own in a while. This remnant of my spirit has been residing in the full moon blade for many years, all for the sake of having a chance to slay the Black Light Saint. It's all thanks to your assistance today. After that, the luminous moon sage bowed towards Chu Kuangren. This scene caused everyone to be shocked. A dignified sage bowed to a junior. Chu Kuangren stood where he was and accepted it calmly. He then looked at the Black Light Saint's corpse on the altar. I want that corpse. Senior, you don't have any objections, do you? The luminous moon sage smiled faintly. Of course. It's all thanks to your assistance in slaying the Black Light Saint. I destroyed the physical body, and you killed the Holy Spirit. Of course, you have the right to dispose of this corpse. Some of the sky prides who arrived at the scene were dumbfounded. What did they just hear? Chu Kuangren and the luminous moon sage joined forces to slay a sage. Was this for real? One of the sky prides gulped. Red rain falls from the sky, thousands of souls mourn, and the phenomenon of a fallen sage. How can this be fake? How can this Chu Kuangren be so terrifying? Didn't he kill an honorable supreme before? How can he kill another sage now? Is he going to proclaim himself an emperor next? I can't believe such a monster has appeared in this era of great battles. The crowd of sky prides was extremely shocked. Looking at the peerless white-robed figure in the sky, they could not bring themselves to compete with him. How could they compete? How could a firefly be compared to the bright moon? I'm afraid it's impossible for me to surpass him in this lifetime, the sky pride Fang Tian murmured with a bitter expression. Beside him, Lin Batin sighed helplessly and lamented, living in the same era as him, it's really sad. The crowd of sky prides could not help but lament. At that moment, there was only one thought in their minds. What era of great battles? It was all **T. With Chu Kuangren standing there, what was there for the others to compete for? If they wanted to compete, they should be the ones fighting. Chu Kuangren was not even in the same world as them. Farewell, future sky prides. The remnant spirit of the luminous moon sage gradually dissipated. Farewell, senior. Chu Kuangren bowed slightly. If it were not for the luminous moon sage, he might not have been able to kill the black light sage. Hence, he was very grateful to the luminous moon sage. It's a shame that I can't witness this era of great battles with my own eyes. A hint of regret flashed across the luminous moon sage's eyes. Chu Kuangren's heart skipped a beat. How did the luminous moon sage know that this was an era of great battles? Before Chu Kuangren could ask any more questions, the luminous moon sage turned around and looked at the black light sage's corpse on the altar. He laughed heartily. Brother Blacklight, although it's been 10,000 years, I've still won this battle in the end. His laughter gradually disappeared along with the remnant spirit. Chu Kuangren held the full moon blade in his hand. There were still some remnants of sage Daoist rhymes on it. Although it was not as rich as before, it would still be of great help to an honorable if he were to properly understand it. After all, this was the Tao of a sage. After keeping the blade, Chu Kuangren dashed towards the altar. Looking at the black light sage's corpse before him, a smile appeared on his face. The sage chi, sage Daoist rhymes, and sage weapons were all rare treasures, not to mention a freshly dead sage's corpse. Whether it was used to understand the Tao, refine weapons, or refine puppets, this sage's corpse was an excellent material. The value of this corpse was worth 10 sage weapons. Chu Kuangren kept the corpse into his yin and yang ring. Master! A surprised voice was heard. Chu Kuangren turned around and saw Lan Yu flapping her wings and flying towards him. His face immediately lit up with joy. Lan Yu, are you all right? I'm fine. How are you, master? I'm fine. After asking around, Chu Kuangren found out that although Lan Yu had encountered a few black death beasts after entering the Grey Mist domain, she was ultimately safe. Oh, sorry to disturb the both of you. Princess Linglong suddenly walked over. Upon seeing her, Chu Kuangren's expression froze. Lan Yu, on the other hand, frowned, feeling that this woman in front of them was a little strange. Her tone just now seemed a little jealous? Was it an illusion? You're here. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath and looked at her with a complicated gaze. You don't have to say anything. It was all for my own survival, and I was the one who initiated it, Princess Linglong said calmly. It was obvious that she was very open about this matter. But no matter what, I should have contributed to you killing a sage. I want the full moon blade and half of the sage's corpse. Princess Linglong said. Sure. Chu Kuangren nodded. He took out the full moon blade and the black light sage's corpse. Princess Linglong took the blade and wanted to chop off half of the sage's corpse, but she realized that the sage's body was indestructible. Helpless, she could only take away the luminous moon sage's head. The head was the head of the 6 yang energies, where the soul was stored. It was worth the remaining half of the corpse. Goodbye. Princess Linglong took the items and left gracefully. Chu Kuangren stood there and frowned. Chapter 60. Master, what happened between you and the princess? Lan Yu asked in confusion. Sigh, it's all bad luck. Chu Kuangren sighed. Lan Yu was even more confused. Her sapphire blue eyes stared unblinkingly at Chu Kuangren, waiting for him to explain. Nothing much. Let's go find Nan Gonghuang and the others first. All right then. Lan Yu nodded. Although she was a little concerned, she would not pursue the matter if Chu Kuangren did not say anything. The two of them packed their things and left. On top of a mountain peak, a group of sky prides was gathered together. In the middle of them was a Daoist hall. In the middle of the hall sat a middle-aged man in a white robe with skin as white as jade. However, this person did not seem to be angry at all. He was like a statue. If Chu Kuangren was here, he would recognize that it was the luminous moon sage. To be precise, it was the corpse of the luminous moon sage. The corpse's white robe was stained with blood as if it had just gone through a great battle. It returned to the Daoist hall, laid down a restriction, and then passed away. The luminous moon sage has been dead for 10,000 years, but his corpse is still immortal. A sage is indeed mysterious. I wonder who it was that managed to kill the luminous moon saint. Could it be that strange existence in the gray fog? Although this sage has been dead for 10,000 years and his Daoist rhymes are not as abundant as when he just died, there is still some sage qi left in his body. If used well, it would be of great use to an honorable. That's right. But let's open the restriction first. There was a layer of restriction around the Daoist hall. It was a restriction set by a sage. Originally, even an honorable would not be able to break it. However, with the passage of time and the erosion of the death qi, there was only a thin layer left of the restriction, giving everyone a chance. Everyone, what do you think? At that moment, young Emperor Lei Ao spoke. Around him, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, Dharma Sect Yuanhong, and the other sky prides looked at each other without saying a word. Lei Ao continued, What? Do you plan to leave empty-handed after seeing the sage's body in front of you? If it wasn't for the fact that I couldn't break this restriction by myself, why would I need the help of a bunch of idiots like you? The White Lotus Sage's face darkened. He said coldly, Lei Ao, don't you think it's too much to have such an attitude when you are asking for our help? Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for your help. I'm asking you to help me. Unless you don't want this saint's body. Lei Ao said coldly. He was confident that no matter who it was, even if it was a venerable, they would be tempted by the body of a sage. After opening the restriction, who will the sage's body belong to? The White Lotus Saintess asked the question that everyone was most concerned about. Of course it depends on our own abilities. Lei Ao laughed. Everyone had different expressions. Needless to say, the strongest person present was undoubtedly young Emperor Lei Ao. Based on their own abilities, Lei Ao had the upper hand. You're all top-notch sky prides of your respective orthodoxies, yet you don't even have this bit of courage? No wonder you can't even defeat Chu Kuangren. Lei Ao said indifferently. Hearing this, Gu Changa's face darkened. All right then, as you wish. After opening the restriction, we'll have to rely on our own abilities. When the White Lotus Bachelor Sage heard the name, Chu Kuangren, his expression turned hostile as well. I have no objections then. The rest of the geniuses agreed one by one. Not all of them were goaded into action. After all, with the sage's body in front of them, they could not possibly return empty-handed. Instead of sitting back and doing nothing, they might as well give it their all. Very well. Lei Ao laughed as he thought to himself, this Chu Kuangren is really unlikable. Just one mention and it has such an effect. Not far away, Nangong Huang and the others looked at each other. Tisk, luckily Elder's senior brother is not here now. Otherwise, would they even have a chance to lay their hands on the sage's body? Elder's senior brother is not here, but he's everywhere. This Lei Ao even has to borrow Elder's senior brother's name to snatch a corpse. Murong Xian shook his head, his admiration for Chu Kuangren growing. Are we going to fight later? Of course. Even if Elder's senior brother is not here, we must not tarnish the name of the Black Heaven sect, Nangong Huang said. They were all Black Heaven sect Daoists, and they were also top-notch sky prides. Aside from Chu Kuangren, the others, even a peerless sky pride like young Emperor Lei Ao, dared to compete with them. I'll make the first move. Lei Ao was the first to attack. He leaped into the air, and a domineering lightning-based Daoist rhyme circulated around his body. A pair of black thunder wings suddenly appeared. Black water falling thunder. The violent black thunder blasted towards the seal. In an instant, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, Yuanhong, and the others also made their moves, each displaying their ultimate techniques from their orthodoxies. White Rainbow Piercing Sun. The White Lotus Maiden Sage and Bachelor Sage unleashed a palm attack, and their horrifying palm energy condensed into a dazzling white light that smashed towards the seal like a rainbow. It was a top-notch supreme technique. Universal Bronze Flow. The Dharma sect's Daoist Yuanhong, on the other hand, gathered the spiritual qi from the heavens and earth, forming a majestic spiritual qi torrent that was unleashed. Gu Changa raised his fist, and the roar of a dragon resounded through the clouds. The sky prides of each orthodoxy attacked one after another. Horrifying Daoist rhyme fluctuations spread out, and when they collided with the seal, an earth-shattering explosion erupted, shaking the entire mountain. Even the void was distorted and trembling. Crack crack, under the joint attack of the sky prides, a huge crack appeared on the seal that was filled with all sorts of Daoist patterns, and it continued to spread. In the end, the seal that had existed for tens of thousands of years and had been continuously eroded by the deathly aura could not withstand this attack, and it exploded on the spot. The impact from the explosion caused many of the weaker sky prides to be thrown hundreds of feet away, and all of them looked at the dojo in shock. Attack! Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others moved instantly. The few of them dashed towards the dojo, intending to snatch the sage's body. Just the few of you and you want to fight with me? Lei Ao snorted coldly, and with a flap of his black lightning wings, his figure turned into a flash of lightning, and he arrived in front of Nangong Huang and the others before throwing out a punch. Thunder rumbled, and the punch sent the few of them flying. Then, Lei Ao extended his hand to grab the sage's body. However, at this moment, several Daoist rhymes exploded, locking onto Lei Ao. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Guchanga, and Yuanhong attacked Lei Ao almost simultaneously. Faced with the joint attack of these four top-notch sky prides, even Lei Ao had no choice but to temporarily stop and channel his spiritual power to fight with them. Heh, you guys know that you're no match for me in a one-on-one fight, so you've decided to gang up on me? Lei Ao flapped his black wings. Even though he was fighting against four of them, he was not at a disadvantage. I'll defeat you first, then we'll split the sage's body. Gu Changa said coldly, and then he unleashed his sage technique, the Dragon Slaughter Fist. Someone who was defeated by Chu Kuangren with a single sword attack. Do you really think you can fight with me? Lei Ao activated his black lightning and blasted his opponent back with a single move. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, and Yuanhong each activated their ultimate techniques, and Nangong Huang, who was previously blasted back, also joined the battle with his sacred sword. Lei Ao instantly fought against 5 of them alone. In an instant, supreme techniques, sage techniques, Daoist physique transformations, and various other techniques were continuously unleashed by these sky prides. Chapter 61. On the Sage's Dojo, the Sky Prides were engaged in a chaotic battle. All sorts of terrifying and violent Daoist rhymes filled the area. ***, if this goes on, there will be no end to it. Lei Ao frowned as he pushed the White Lotus Maiden Sage back with a punch. Just as the others were about to continue, Lei Ao shouted, "Stop! Oh, even a young emperor is afraid?" Nangong Huang sneered. What a joke. I just think it's a waste of time if this goes on. How about this, each of us take a step back. I'll take the sage's head and leave the rest to you, Lei Ao said. The White Lotus Maiden Sage and the others looked at each other and seemed to be hesitating. Lei Ao said coldly, "This is already my biggest concession. If this goes on, you guys will benefit from resting." "All right, then it's settled. I want the heart." Gu Chang'e nodded. "I want the bones and part of the flesh. Other than the heart, the organs of the luminous moon sage will belong to the school of White Lotus," the White Lotus Bachelor Sage said calmly. Nangong Huang frowned. "That's a little too much. If you guys take everything, what will the Black Heaven sect get?" "We're already being merciful by giving you part of the flesh. Are you trying to take advantage of us?" The White Lotus Bachelor Sage said. He seemed to be dissatisfied with the Black Heaven sect and his tone was unfriendly. Seeing this, the others did not stop her. Gu Chang'e said directly, "This is our decision. Do you have any opinion?" "That's right. I've suddenly changed my mind. Other than the head, I want the flesh of the Black Heaven sect too," Lei Ao suddenly said, causing Nangong Huang's face to turn pale. Just now, they had teamed up against Lei Ao, but now, it was the other way around. Everyone had teamed up against the Black Heaven sect. How could Nangong Huang not know the reason? "A bunch of lowly people. You don't dare to fight with my elder senior brother, so you want to bully us to regain some of your laughable dignity? What a joke. You guys are not even fit to carry my elder senior brother's shoes." The few of them seemed to have been seen through and their faces turned gloomy. "How dare you!" Lei Ao shouted and punched out. Violent thunderbolts surged out. Nangong Huang blocked with his sword, but he was still sent flying. Fine electric arcs jumped on his body, and he was seriously injured. Nangong Huang. Murong Xian hurriedly rushed forward. He was so angry that he was about to attack, but he was stopped by Nangong Huang. "You're not his match. Don't go up," Nangong Huang said in a low voice. "Damn it." Murong Xian and the others were so angry that the veins on their foreheads were bulging. However, they knew very well that nothing good would come out of it if they were to fight now. The Sky Prides from the other orthodoxies looked at Murong Xian and the others with mocking looks in their eyes. For the past few days, they had been crushed by Chu Kuangren so badly that they could barely breathe. Now, they finally felt a little better. "Heh, do you really think that everyone in the Black Heaven sect is Chu Kuangren? What a joke," the White Lotus Saint sneered. Beside him, the White Lotus Maiden Sage frowned. "Bachelor Sage, your emotions are too obvious. Is there a grudge between you and the Black Heaven sect?" "No, I just can't stand it. If you don't like Chu Kuangren, you can go look for him. There's no point in humiliating his junior brother here. It will only show how weak you are," the White Lotus Maiden Sage said calmly. In the school of White Lotus, a Maiden Sage was a grade higher than a Bachelor Sage. There were many Bachelor Sages, but there could only be one Maiden Sage. Hence, when she reprimanded the White Lotus Bachelor Sage, the Bachelor Sage's face turned red, but he did not dare to talk back. All he did was hate Chu Kuangren even more. "All right, now that the person in the way has been dealt with, I shall take this sage's head." Lei Ao took out a saber and walked towards the sage's body. The surrounding Sky Prides could not help but shake their heads and sigh. A sage is going to be dismembered after his death. How pitiful. Yeah, no matter how strong you were when you were alive, you're just a corpse after death, waiting to be slaughtered. The sage's body is a rare treasure for many cultivators. Those who are capable would definitely not miss it. Lei Ao held his saber and approached the sage's body step by step. A sinister smile appeared on his face. "Senior Sage, please excuse me." Although he said that, he did not hesitate to attack. The saber slashed down at the speed of lightning. Just when the luminous moon sage's body was about to be damaged, a purple sword ray entered the battlefield at an even faster speed. The sword radiance reached Lei Ao's saber first, even though it was launched later. The saber shattered on the spot, and the terrifying impact sent Lei Ao flying. "That sword ray, it's you." Lei Ao thought of something and immediately looked towards the source of the sword ray. The others were no exception, but they all had different expressions. Gu Chang'e, the White Lotus Bachelor Sage, and Lei Ao were extremely gloomy. The White Lotus Maiden Sage was a little curious, and Nangong Huang and the others were ecstatic. Elder senior brother. It was Chu Kuangren. Chu Kuangren was dressed in a white robe, his black hair reaching his waist, and his body was surrounded by Daoist rhymes. He was the one who had defeated Lei Ao. When they saw him, everyone's heart skipped a beat. Especially Lei Ao. He felt that his opponent's strength had become even stronger. You're really lucky to be able to walk out of that gray mist alive, Lei Ao said coldly. Chu Kuangren replied, even AB** starred like you didn't die, let alone me. This sage's body is mine for the Black Heaven sect. You want to monopolize it? Lei Ao said coldly. Yes. What a joke. Chu Kuangren, you're here. We might have a share, but you're too arrogant to think that you can monopolize it. Do you really think that all these sky prides here are just for show? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage took a step forward, and his aura instantly exploded. Yuan Hong and Gu Chang'e looked unfriendly too. Heh, didn't you guys say that I'm declaring war on the world? Then I'll fight you guys today. Chu Kuangren did not budge an inch. He was grateful that the Luminous Moon Sage had killed the Black Light Sage together with him. He could not sit back and watch others destroy the Luminous Moon Sage's body. All right, let me see how strong you are. The White Lotus Bachelor Sage was so angry that he laughed. The jealousy and hatred in his heart urged him to activate the spiritual power within his body. A strong Daoist rhyme emanated from his body, and then he struck out with his palm. A white light bloomed from his palm, and the white rainbow palm energy erupted. Chu Kuangren did not say a word. He simply struck out with his sword, and the purple sword ray whistled, instantly broke through the palm energy, and landed on the White Lotus Bachelor Sage's body. A scream was followed by a large amount of blood splattered. An arm was thrown high into the air. You can't even withstand a light attack from me, and you want to see my strength? What a joke, Chu Kuangren said indifferently. The White Lotus Bachelor Sage covered the wound on his broken arm and glared at Chu Kuangren. There was hatred in his eyes, but more than that, there was extreme fear. How could the gap between him and his opponent be so huge? He could not even withstand a single attack. The White Lotus Maiden Sage slowly walked up and looked at Chu Kuangren. Brother Chu, you're a little too harsh. He didn't hold back at all when he attacked, and I only broke one of his arms. Even I feel that I'm being too merciful. Why, does the White Lotus Maiden Sage want to give it a try? Chu Kuangren stared coldly at the White Lotus Maiden Sage. Chapter 62. The smile on the White Lotus Maiden Sage's face gradually disappeared as she stared at Chu Kuangren. We retreat. Maiden Sage. The White Lotus Bachelor Sage was indignant. He had lost an arm to Chu Kuangren, but the White Lotus Maiden Sage was unfazed. She did nothing and even wanted to give up on her sage body. How could he accept that? Shut up. The White Lotus Maiden Sage scolded. Chu Kuangren was too powerful. Even a maiden sage like her could not change anything, so she might as well take the initiative and avoid unnecessary damage. A wise choice, Chu Kuangren said. Giving up without doing anything is not who I am. I have to give it a shot no matter what, Yuan Hong of the Dharma sect said. The few Dharma sect Daoists who came with him immediately made their moves. There were 4 of them in total. The 4 of them surrounded Chu Kuangren, each activating a technique. In an instant, 4 different Daoist rhymes filled the air. It was a powerful combined attack. The Dharma sect's 4 mystical arts. Some of the people who knew him were surprised. The Dharma sect claimed to have learned all kinds of techniques in the world. However, there were only a few that were most famous. The 4 mystical arts was one of them. When the 4 of them activated the 4 techniques of earth, wind, water, and fire together, they could unleash combat strength that far exceeded their cultivation level. It was quite famous in the firmament star. Earth. The earth word was cast, and a huge mountain appeared in the sky. Wind. A violent gust of wind swept across the sky. Water. The sound of rolling waves could be heard in the void. It was as if there was an ocean. Fire! A terrifying flame appeared out of nowhere and burned the sky. The four Dharma sect Daoists activated their techniques, and the four Daoist rhymes intertwined to form a terrifying force field that crushed towards Chu Kuangren. However, Chu Kuangren stood still with a calm expression. To him, that terrifying domineering aura was like a gentle breeze. Chu Kuangren, take this. No one has ever come out unscathed under the four mystical arts, and you're no exception. The four Daoists attacked, and the four Daoist rhymes of earth, wind, water, and fire formed four colorful torrents that exploded instantly. What a show-off! Chu Kuangren smiled calmly. He lightly stamped his foot on the ground. Terrifying sword chi poured out of his body like a tsunami. In the blink of an eye, the four symbols art was broken. Under the impact of the sword chi, the four Daoists of the Dharma sect flew backward like kites with broken strings. The Sky Prides were dumbfounded at the sight of this. They were not surprised that Chu Kuangren could break through the four mystical techniques, but he did it a little too easily. It was done with just a stomp of his feet? Are you kidding me? Since when did the Dharma sect's art of four symbols become so weak? Isn't this a sage art? Indeed, the four symbols as one is comparable to a great saint technique. It's not that the four mystical arts is weak, it's that Chu Kuangren is just too strong. The Dharma sect's Daoists are no match for him at all. There's no need to use any moves. Just the sword energy alone possesses an incomparably terrifying destructive power. Chu Kuangren is terrifying. Seeing that the four mystical arts had been broken, Yuanhong, who had been quiet all this while, suddenly erupted with a terrifying Daoist rhyme that had been brewing for a long time. Transcendent coalescence. Yuanhong roared, and the spiritual qi between the heavens and earth surged in an instant, turning into a gorgeous, colorful torrent. This torrent seemed to contain all kinds of cultivation techniques, and all kinds of Daoist rhymes were mixed within it. It was extremely powerful and shocking. At the side, Guchanga also made her move. Brother Yuanhong, let me help you. With a punch, the domineering Daoist rhyme formed a golden dragon shadow. The dragon roared and dove towards Chu Kuangren. The transcendent coalescence and the dragon slaughter fist were both sage techniques that were specifically used for attacking. They were extremely mysterious, and when they were used by two top-notch Sky Prides, their power made everyone at the scene solemn. Even Lei Ao had a hint of caution on his face. Human mountain stamp. Chu Kuangren stood still and raised his hand to gather a majestic amount of earth chi, forming a terrifying godly mountain that blasted out. The three huge forces collided with each other and exploded in the void, forming a colorful shockwave that was incomparably gorgeous. However, the terrifying impact that it contained caused Yuanhong and Guchanga to spit out blood and fall to the ground. Chu Kuangren's white robe fluttered in the wind. He looked at the gorgeous colors around him and said, "It's like fireworks." Yuanhong and Guchanga almost vomited blood when they heard him. Like fireworks? Not only did their full-powered attack not hurt Chu Kuangren, but he even called it fireworks. That was just too infuriating. Even Nangong Huang and the others behind Chu Kuangren could not help but twitch their mouths. Their elder senior brother's words were too much of a blow to them. Chu Kuangren was a Sky Pride after all, yet he did not give him any face at all. However, this feeling, it felt so good. Seeing the other Sky Prides being tortured by Chu Kuangren, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others only felt proud and carefree. Chu Kuangren. Guchanga stared at Chu Kuangren, his eyes filled with unwillingness. Ever since he was defeated by Chu Kuangren in the Black Heaven sect, he had spent time recuperating and recovering his Daoist core. He had also devoted himself to cultivation, and with the help of various treasures, he had finally broken through to the Paradise realm. He initially thought that he could catch up to Chu Kuangren's cultivation base. However, he did not expect the gap to be even wider. Last time, he was defeated by Chu Kuangren with a single sword attack. This time, he was defeated by another Sky Pride of the same level. Beside him, Yuanhong's face was also filled with bitterness. Encountering such a thing, anyone would feel as if their soul had left their body. How could this be? This is an era of great battles. We should be surrounded by stars, but why is he so much stronger than us? The White Lotus Bachelor Sage could not accept it. Chu Kuangren glanced at him and said, "You're not wrong. This is indeed an era of great battles. It's just that all of you are competing with me." Many sky prides at the scene trembled in shock. On the other hand, Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others were filled with admiration and fanaticism. He had single-handedly declared war against all the sky prides in the world. He had single-handedly fought against the entire world. Lei Ao, who was beside him, was also stunned. "Damn it, do you have to be so arrogant? Even I, a young emperor, am not as arrogant as you are." However, before Lei Ao could react, Chu Kuangren's gaze locked onto him. "Be *starred, you're the one who hurt my junior brother, aren't you?" He had noticed Nangong Huang's injury. Among all the sky prides present, only Lei Ao could produce that kind of domineering lightning-based Daoist rhyme. "Do you want revenge?" Lei Ao said coldly. His gaze was extremely serious, and there were electric arcs leaping around his body. He was very cautious. "Yes, and I'm going to kill you." Chu Kuangren moved. With a swing of the Descendant Self-Sword, a domineering sword ray whizzed out. Lei Ao had no choice but to face it with all his might. The black lightning wings flapped, and the black water falling thunder instantly erupted. The sword ray and the thunder collided. Then, everyone saw a figure fly out and crash into the mountain wall in the distance, continuously spitting blood. That miserable figure was the young Emperor Lei Ao. Chapter 63. Do you think you're worthy of being called a young emperor? Chu Kuangren said. His tone was calm and emotionless, but his words were filled with mockery towards Lei Ao. Lei Ao was extremely frustrated and his eyes were bloodshot. He was a young emperor. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? "Chu Kuangren, I'm going to kill you." Lei Ao let out an angry roar. Black lightning erupted from his body and he charged towards Chu Kuangren. He was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. At least that was how it looked to others. Even Chu Kuangren felt that his opponent was fast before, but now it was just SOSO in his eyes. He had leveled up too much. With the Supreme Purple Palace Realm Foundation, coupled with the 3 great foundation levels and the exquisite 9 orifices Sword Heart, he had surpassed his peers in the same realm. Just as Lei Ao was charging towards him, Chu Kuangren had already locked onto his opponent's trajectory. Majestic earth chi surged and turned into a godly mountain that smashed towards him. Lei Ao was once again pushed back. What a terrifying attack. I can't take it head-on. Lei Ao was shocked. He slowly calmed himself down and was no longer in a hurry to attack. Black lightning flickered around his body as his silhouette constantly changed. "Chu Kuangren, see, can you catch up to me? Not only does my lightning give me a powerful attack, but it also gives me unparalleled speed. Speed is the only unbeatable technique in this world. You have nothing to be afraid of even if you can't hit me." Lei Ao's proud voice echoed in the void. Gu Chang'e, the White Lotus Maiden Sage, and the others were shocked. "Even my spiritual thoughts can't catch up to this speed. So fast." Lei Ao's silhouette moved quickly as he aimed for an opening. With a glint in his eyes, he sped up and dashed towards Chu Kuangren's back. He struck out with his palm and violent lightning gathered. However, at that moment, a sword landed on his face and sent him flying. After spinning around a dozen times in the air, he fell to the ground like a dead dog. "Jumping up and down, aren't you proud of yourself?" Chu Kuangren looked at Lei Ao, who was on the ground as if he was looking down on an ant. No one knew how angry Lei Ao was at that moment. 3 times. He was sent flying by Chu Kuangren 3 times. Furthermore, he had done it in front of everyone. His authority as a young emperor was practically non-existent. In front of the other sky prides, he was a young emperor. However, in front of Chu Kuangren, he was nothing. Lei Ao laid on the ground, his body twitching non-stop. The black lightning on the surface of his body gradually turned blood red, and an even more domineering Daoist rhyme emanated. Chu Kuangren, you are the first prodigy to force me to use this method. Only by killing you can I wash away this humiliation. Lei Ao slowly stood up. Blood-colored lightning surrounded him, and even his hair turned red. His terrifying aura even forced Guchanga and the other heaven's favorites to retreat. The current Lei Ao's battle power was close to that of a venerable Dao body phenomenon, unstoppable thunder. Heaven-shattering blood lightning. Dark clouds covered the sky and thunder rumbled. Lei Ao activated his blood-colored lightning, and with the help of his Daoist physique transformation, he charged towards Chu Kuangren with such power that it distorted the void. Heaven-rending drawing technique. Chu Kuangren swung his sword and a dazzling purple sword ray shone. The sword light blotted out the sky and almost swallowed the world. It also engulfed the blood-colored lightning. The terrifying sword attack caused Lei Ao to let out a blood-curdling scream as he reverted back to his original form of a thunder hawk. The sword chi raged and streaks of blood appeared on Lei Ao's body. A large amount of blood splattered like a rain of blood. Lei Ao no longer had any thoughts of resisting. With a flap of his wings, a large amount of lightning exploded. He used a certain treasure to forcefully shatter the sword ray before he frantically fled into the distance. His speed was already extremely fast, and with the addition of the treasure, Lei Ao's speed was so fast that even an honorable might not be able to catch up to him. Trying to escape? You'll have to ask for my permission first. 9 Heaven Sword Prison. With a soft shout, 12 long pillars formed by sword chi appeared between heaven and earth. There were runes circling around them, sealing the sky and locking the earth. Under this Daoist physique transformation, Lei Ao's body suddenly felt a strong constraint as if he was tied up by countless shackles. Not only that, but the spatial structure also seemed to have changed. How can this be? How can his physique be so strong? No, this physique transformation has spatial energy. Lei Ao said in horror. The most obvious characteristic of the Paradise Realm was the initial contact with spatial energy. However, using spatial energy required a long period of practice. Chu Kuangren had just ascended to the Paradise Realm, so how could he use spatial energy and integrate it into his Daoist physique transformation? This is the difference between you and me. Chu Kuangren said calmly. With the help of the godly essence, he had stepped into the Paradise Realm and entered the state of Dao enlightenment. In addition to that, he had also entered the state of Dao enlightenment before and absorbed the primordial purple haze. His understanding of Dao was too deep. This also included the cultivation secrets of each realm. Since he had stepped into the Paradise Realm, spatial energy was already at his fingertips. Integrating it into his physique transformation was a piece of cake. Chu Kuangren, what are you trying to do? If you dare to kill me, the Thunder Falcon tribe will never forgive you. Lei Ao threatened. Let them come then. Chu Kuangren waved his sacred sword and the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique appeared again. This time, there were no surprises. Lei Ao was instantly minced into a bloody mist by the sword chi. The current young emperor had fallen. The White Lotus Maiden Sage, Bachelor Sage, Yuan Hong, and the others watched the scene with their hearts trembling. They stared at the white-robed figure with their hearts trembling. The 8 young emperors of this world were the pinnacle of sky prides. Countless people had tried to topple them, but to no avail. Today, a young emperor had fallen in front of them. Chu Kuangren, Chu Kuangren. Many people murmured that name in a daze. They knew that from that day onward, that name would be the peak that countless sky prides could only dream of. Chu Kuangren slowly walked to the dojo and placed the luminous moon sage's body into his yin and yang ring. No one dared to object. Because no one had the right to object. Let's go, Chu Kuangren said. The people of Black Heaven sect left. Coincidentally, just as Chu Kuangren and the others left, Fang Tian, Lin Badian, and a few other sky prides who were trapped in the gray mist also arrived at the dojo. Bachelor Sage, and what happened to you guys? Fang Tian was shocked to see the White Lotus bachelor sage with a broken arm and the severely injured Guchanga and Yuan Hong. "It's all because of you, Chu Kuangren," the White Lotus bachelor sage said viciously. Fang Tian and Lin Badian looked at each other with an as-expected expression. Besides Chu Kuangren, who else could single-handedly injure those top-notch sky prides? "I say, why did you guys go and provoke him for no reason? That guy can even kill a sage." Fang Tian said. "What?" The people who were about to leave were shocked and quickly surrounded them. Their eyes were filled with horror. Just now, the red rain and the mournful cries were indeed the signs of a fallen sage, but did Chu Kuangren kill that sage? "Quick, tell us now." Fang Tian and Lin Badian immediately recounted what they had seen and heard in the gray mist. Everyone who heard it felt absurd. Killing a sage? They saw sages as gods, high and mighty. However, Chu Kuangren had already slain a sage. Chapter 64. Outside the secret realm of the bright moon. The elites of the various orthodoxies were all discussing something. They were originally talking about the phenomenon of a sage falling, but now they were thinking about which orthodoxy's prodigy would be able to take the lead in this trip to the mystic realm. Among them, the one who was the most pleased was the supreme of the Thunder Falcon tribe. My clan's Lei Ao is one of the current 8 young emperors. His combat strength is unparalleled, and he is able to fight opponents who are a whole realm higher than him. In other words, his strength is equivalent to a battle king warrior. Who in the mystery realm could possibly be his match? The most obvious characteristic of a young emperor was his ability to fight across realms, and not just by a small realm, but by a large realm. The higher the cultivation realm, the harder it was to advance. Only those who could fight a king at the Dongshu realm were qualified to be called a young emperor. The geniuses who entered the secret realm were all below the battle king level, but Lei Ao had the battle strength of a battle king. This was definitely a huge advantage. It was no wonder that the Thunder Falcon tribe was so proud of themselves. If there were no accidents, Lei Ao would gain the most this time. The Thunder Falcon tribe is overconfident. I think the Black Heaven Sect's elder senior brother might not be any weaker than your tribe's Lei Ao. One of the honorable ones said. It was not that he was on good terms with the Black Heaven Sect, but he simply could not stand the sight of the Thunder Falcon tribe acting so arrogantly. "Oh, Chu Kuangren, huh? He's quite a good seedling. I hope he doesn't encounter my tribe's Lei Ao. Otherwise, his fate will be uncertain." The honorable one of the Thunder Falcon tribe was very confident in Lei Ao. Hearing those words, Elder Rian was instantly dissatisfied. "Supreme Lei Hua, do you really think that Lei Ao is invincible? If he were to encounter Kuangren, it's hard to say who would emerge victorious. You should worry about Lei Ao instead." "Oh, then let us wait and see." Sovereign Lei Hua sneered in disdain, waiting to see a joke. Suddenly, Sovereign Lei Hua frowned. He felt a fluctuation coming from his universe ring. It was a communication compass. A message from the clan? What's going on? "Master Lei Hua, Lei Ao's life fire has been extinguished. What's going on?" A low roar came from the communication artifact. Even without seeing it, one could imagine how ugly the expression of the owner of the voice was. Life fire represented a cultivator's life. Many orthodoxies would take a drop of their disciples' blood essence to create a life fire and leave it in the orthodoxy. The extinguishing of the vital flame meant that the cultivator was dead. Many people present heard the voice of the communication artifact. Instantly, everyone's expression became extremely strange. A few supreme martial artists almost burst out laughing on the spot. Supremacy Lei Hua's face turned pale in an instant. He was also dumbfounded. How did young Emperor Lei Ao die? Patria, I don't know. The young emperor is still in the secret territory. Autarch Thunderfire said hurriedly. Inside the arcane realm? He's dead. The Thunder Falcon tribe leader bellowed, "Stay where you are. Find out what happened and how Lei Ao died." That was a young emperor. He was a young emperor with a bright future. Once he grew up, he might not be 100% sure to become an emperor, but he would at least be a pillar of support for an orthodoxy. No other orthodoxy would be able to take it. The light of the communication artifact went out. However, Sovereign Lei Huo was still in a daze. The venerables of the other orthodoxies looked at each other with playful expressions. Just a second ago, he had been so smug about how great his young emperor was. Now, his young emperor was dead. Was there anything more dramatic than this? Who the hell did this? Sovereign Lei Huo's face darkened when he regained his senses. Meanwhile, inside the secret realm of the luminous moon, Chu Kuangren, Lan Yu, and Nangong Huang were exploring the secret realm. The secret realm was huge. Although it was run down, it was still the residence of a sage. There were still many opportunities of fortune to be found. For example, supreme elixirs and spiritual ores. Chu Kuangren even met Li Xingqian. When he first met him, he was fighting a few Black Death beasts. Fortunately, Chu Kuangren arrived at the last moment. Otherwise, Li Xingqian might not have survived. It's too scary. How can there be such terrifying beasts in this secret realm? They're all battle monarchs. Li Xingqian was still traumatized. They all came out from the gray mist. Chu Kuangren said. These battle monarch-level Black Death beasts were reared by the Black Light Saint in the gray fog and fed with the death chi. Now that the Black Light Saint was dead and the gray fog domain was gone, these Black Death beasts scattered. Brother Chu, this secret realm is too dangerous. It's safer for me to stay by your side. What do you think? Li Xingqian smiled and said. It's up to you. Chu Kuangren did not have any objections. The secret realm was huge. It would probably take a few days to explore. What do you think about this luminous moon sage? Why would he live in such a big place alone? Li Xingqian muttered. Beside him, Nangong Huang said, sages are also human. They have different personalities. Some sages can live in a hut, while others like to live in luxurious palaces. It's not unusual. That's true. This sage's means are extraordinary. He could actually open up such a big small realm. It's almost half the size of our White Cloud City. Amazing, Li Xingqian said. Yes, indeed. The Sky Prides gathered together and chatted. Chu Kuangren sat beside them. It looked like he was resting with his eyes closed, but in fact he was doing the daily lottery. Taishang Laojun, the Jade Emperor, Buddha, any god will do. Please bless me with good luck this time. Even if I don't ask for the Starlight Legend, I don't think it's too much to ask for gold, right? Chu Kuangren's expression was calm, but his heart was swearing. Ever since he got the Heaven Spiritual Marrow, he had never gotten a gold reward again. Even silver rewards were pitifully few. Congratulations, host, you have obtained the legendary divine treasure locating skill. Damn! Chu Kuangren stood up immediately. It turned out to be a legendary divine skill. Luck was on his side. Everyone was stunned when they saw Chu Kuangren's ecstatic face. They had never seen him so excited before. Elder Senior Brother, what's wrong? Everyone asked curiously. Nothing. I just thought of something happy. Chu Kuangren suppressed his excitement and said, Brother Chu, what happy thing? Tell us so we can be happy. Li Xingqian asked curiously. It's just a joke. There used to be a family with a child named Zhu Chuan. Every time his mother went to buy clothes, she would say that it was for her pig. Ha! Chu Kuangren laughed. Nangong Huang, Li Xingqian, and the others looked at each other. What is so funny? Or am I too funny? Ha! It's so funny. Zhu Chuan? Murong Xian suddenly slapped his thigh and laughed wildly. Nangong Huang and the others reacted instantly. This was a joke told by their elder senior brother. Not laughing meant that they were not giving him face. Laugh, they had to laugh. Ha, it's funny, it's so funny. Amazing, as expected of our elder senior brother. This is the funniest joke I've ever heard. I can laugh for a whole year, ha. Brother Chu, it's really you. I'm dying of laughter. Chu Kuangren was a little confused as he looked at the others who were holding their stomachs in laughter. Wait, is this joke really that funny? He looked at Lan Yu, who was next to him. Lan Yu saw him looking at her and forced a smile. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.